Bills back to work today. Cornerback Taron Johnson with a quad and linebacker Shaq Thompson with a hamstring both missed practice, while Trey White did participate today, but to what extent we'll find out later in the afternoon when the injury report does come out. When it does, the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured? For help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll also get more on today when Sal Capacio joins the show at 5 p.m. Before practice, the Bills did make an addition to the practice squad, defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis, and then later on in the morning, quarterback Josh Allen was named the AFC's Offensive Player of the Week. This is Allen's 16th time winning the award, the most of any player in the NFL. Chiefs wide receivers Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals both not practicing today. Worthy a shoulder and Royals a knee. Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen does say that rookie wide receiver and cornerback Travis Hunter, will get more snaps on defense against Cincinnati, and the Cowboys, they are bringing in Jadeveon Clowney for a visit. Minnesota forward Kirill Kaprizov, according to Frank Saravelli, turned down an 8-year, $128 million extension. If accepted, that would have made Kaprizov the highest-paid player in NHL history. And then in baseball, Bison's at Rochester just after 6. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. 6:45, Mets at Phillies. Then just after 7, Toronto hosts Houston, and the Yankees have the Tigers in town. And with the AL East, the Jays do hold a 3-game lead with 18 games to go. And a reminder to stream your local NFL games all season long, kicking off with Week 2 matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets, starting at $30 for your first year. And that's like $2.50 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Schopp and the Bulldog.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Monday, Tuesday, hump day is halfway. It's Mike Schopp.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
On WGR.
Hump day!
Sports Radio 550.
Might be our first actual hump day since, May. Both of us working 5-day weeks. You're off Sunday. That's not even applicable.
Yeah.
But it actually is. No Labor Days. And
Right. No vacations.
Imagine if we lived in Canada and had every first Monday of the month off in the summer. Simcoe Day, really? Canada?
Victoria Day.
Have some self-respect.
Bank holiday.
Bank holiday.
Yeah.
We want to give our people some time off in the summer. I respect it, but just stop it. So it's hump day, actually, this time. It's also steak night.
Well,
how do I look?
For some of us.
I'm going to try to get away with this.
You look a little, I don't know.
Under?
I don't know. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on there. The shoes with the shorts. I don't know. I'm just not sure. I don't know. The shoes. Those,
you're not the guy I would ask.
No, that's right.
You're the guy who's here.
I don't. Yeah, I want to use some swear words here. I don't know a lot about this area, but there's just it's a lot going on there.
Okay.
The shoes with the shorts is the thing to me. The rest of it, the vest with the.
I think I'm
like the
creating
shorts
something.
And I like the shirt.
I think I'm inventing something.
A 54,
nope,
53-year-old man,
better
in Western New York. You're creating a
look.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
All right. I wish you luck with that.
I went to Canada last night for my daughter's hockey game.
I don't know if I want to be alongside for much of it.
Every guy I saw from Canada, that probably lived in Canada, had the collar up. They all looked like Kevin Bacon in Footloose or something. They all had sort of the 80s, 90s collar up, sort of faux formal a little bit, just sort of we'll just put the collar up and maybe we're okay. And I asked my wife, can I pull that off? She's like, no. But, maybe that's a look. What's old is new again.
Sorry, you got that popped up there then?
No, not now.
No, okay. The way you just fiddled with it, because it's outside the vest now, and I thought maybe it was up. Okay. Yeah, I don't. That is.
Not in Canada.
Listen, I'm not saying you can't recover from this with me, but you roll up to me on the golf course I'm there with a friend, and there's another pair coming, and like the starters goes, "Hey, why don't you guys?" Okay, and you roll up, you got the collar up on the shirt, like we are off to a very bad start.
Yeah, I know.
We are just off to a very bad. You might be extremely nice, and I might get over it after a few holes, but I have immediately judged you probably too harshly. But
collar
that's
up.
Just,
it's coming back though.
I'm aware.
I think usually Canada's first.
It is a little more, Toronto. Yeah, it's a little more international than we're used to.
Of course, that's
why I'm taking a shot at you as being a 53-year-old man from Buffalo thinks you're starting something.
You got the age right. You have the quintessential Red Sox hat on today as our viewers on YouTube and Twitch.
I went to Boston seeking this hat. I wanted this hat, and we stopped in one place that had these on a rack, but they were snapbacks. They were, one size fits all. And I'm like, no, I can do better than that. There's got to be a store with a better selection. And the second place we went in, the first rack of hats I walked up to had these fitted 7 3/4. The one on top was my hat. I'm like, there it is, 7 3/4. Let's go. Yeah, this is the Red Sox hat I fell in love with them.
70s.
75 World Series, this hat. Didn't like the uniform they wore then with the V-neck top. Not a look I really liked, but the hat.
I had that shirt.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why, but I had that
Were you
Red
trying to
Sox
start a thing
jersey.
with that back then?
I had the Red Sox.
Wow.
I had a few different teams. I never had Cincinnati. I had the Cincinnati starter, the jacket, which I loved. I wish I still had that. Yeah. But didn't have the Red Sox white V-neck shirt. It wasn't a jersey even back then. You couldn't buy jerseys. No number or anything like that, but I had that. I had the Mets one, too, with the pinstripes.
Yeah.
Mets.
All right.
Anyway.
I learned a little something
about me.
Yeah, real quick, because we got, we have a show to do about the football and the Bills. But I learned something about the alternate uniforms these baseball teams are wearing. I got loose on Yankees and Dodgers. I was watching a Yankee-Dodger game like on a Friday night or a Saturday night. It was like the game of the week.
They were in yellow.
And the Dodgers were wearing something dopey. And I was just like, what? Come on. It's Yankees-Dodgers. Give me Yankees-Dodgers, right? Well, I was at a Marlins-Red Sox game. Okay, not a real, not a storied rivalry, really. It might have been the first time they ever played. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? But the Red Sox were wearing, they wear the red tops sometimes, and I don't even know if that goes with these hats or not. I'm not sure if they wear these hats. Anyway, they've got the City Connect uniforms, which are like the Boston Marathon colors, and I think that's a blue hat or a yellow hat even that matches the colors. And then they have a Fenway uniform now, which is green with green caps. And when I watch them on TV, I go like, "Come on, what are we doing here?" I'll tell you what. In person, they really looked good. They popped in person in a way that on TV they just kind of look like bleh. So I don't know, whatever.
Love to pop in person.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to bring this up. So Sunday's game was pretty weird for trying to figure out anything about what the Bills want to be. They were down. They had to push it. They did. They were successful. But it wasn't sort of a traditional game where you could, all right, well, finally we've got some real evidence of what they want their offense to be. It doesn't really give you that. And it's possible because they're such big favorites for the next month plus that we still won't know. I just wanted to check back in on Everybody Eats. Because in Sunday's game, everybody did not eat. It was not, you would never use that from Sunday's game. But they were down. They did run 85 plays, which is insane, to Baltimore's 51. I wonder what the win percentage is of teams that run 30 more plays than their opponent. Would they usually win or would they usually not win? The Ravens it was the Kansas City playoff game here 2 years ago where they were just so efficient on offense, they didn't really need to keep the ball. And then it was still the Bills had a great chance to win that game too. That was the incomplete back-to-back passes in the end zone and the missed field goal, and that was it. But I just wonder what, if anything, you think Sunday told us about how they might want their offense to be the same or different. You had Coleman on Sunday night get to 11 targets. Targets, I think, is the starting point.
Yeah.
8 for 112 and 1. Shakir, 9 targets. Palmer, 9 targets.
Right.
Samuel doesn't play, right? Elijah Moore is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Knox is 1. Kincaid is 4. What does it change anything for you?
You skip Cook and Kincaid 5 and 4 each. I'm wondering how many more mouths in the trough do you need to qualify for everybody eats? I mean, 11, 9, 9, 5, 4. Their top 5 receivers. That's pretty good. I mean, and Coleman didn't get to 11. He was at 1, I think, going into the fourth quarter. So that they just sort of erupted there.
That's what I mean.
I think so he's at the top, and he ends up looking like an aberration to everybody eats. He has a number 1 receiver stat line, kind of
in the end.
In the game, in the end. But I think the balance of the game is still everybody eats, almost except Coleman. He only had 1 target before the fourth quarter. But the rest of it, like the stats, I think are pretty respectable in the end in the passing game. And everybody else, except for Palmer, had that big catch, obviously, to pad his yards on the last drive. But everybody else did what they did before really that last drive, if not even the fourth quarter, and then Coleman just, elevated.
Well, then,
so I think it was still mostly what they've been preaching, just with Coleman popping at the end.
So if you don't want to completely eliminate the fourth quarter.
No.
But before the fourth quarter, Allen is at 143 passing yards, and they're down big.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like last year's playoff game where he throws for one. Similar, like 122 or whatever that was last year, something low. But you have the fourth quarter where this is a big part of the conversation from the last 2 days. Is they threw it because they needed to,
right?
But do they want to? And when they needed to, they were successful. But still, like it's 143 through 3 quarters. Like that's a little bit gross.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like Cook was doing anything. What was their rushing output?
Right. No, he didn't have much on the ground. He was 13 for 44
in the end. Yeah.
Right.
That might have been it.
Yeah. I mean, Allen was 14 for 30, as it turned out,
with the kneel downs.
Right. Ray Davis had 1 touch for 2 yards.
One catch.
And 1 catch too. Okay, so 2 touches. But yeah, I suspect that what we saw for 3 quarters is more what they want to be than what they were in the fourth quarter. I think I said it right away on Monday. Like I think they were sort of forced at gunpoint into having to be a little more aggressive or a lot more aggressive about it, and it worked. And how much that coincided with what Baltimore was doing, how much did they change what they were doing versus what was happening earlier? But yeah, I mean. Halftime of the game, they showed the stat on the screen. Allen, 41% of his passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage to that point in the game. And that is very reminiscent of Kansas City in the playoffs. And really their offense was that a lot last season. So
I think, I'm sorry, but I feel like the bottom line here is, does this game move you at all about their chances? Like, does it change anything for you about their chances? Does it, okay, so they didn't really want to push the ball. They did because they had to. Cook was Cook, whatever. It's always this for me. Mm-hmm. I don't even care. Does the course of the game change anything for you about how this is going to end?
I don't. It's so early.
I feel like Baltimore is the reason why it might.
Well, sure. They're a particularly odd, difficult matchup. I think for everyone in the league, they're an oddity with how they can play. The quarterback's talent, the running back, how unique he is. When they have their full arsenal of guys, like the big fullback and all of it, like I think the Bills try to do this too with the sixth lineman and now Jackson Hawes maybe in that spot a little more often this year as opposed to Anderson. But they're going to try to bully you too. I think the Bills want to play that. I think we got a season's worth, if not more. I mean, I don't want to. The back half of the first, when Brady took over, is hard to like hang on them because how much of that was really his thing. They just sort of piecemeal whatever. But they became more run heavy, and I think I would guess they still want to be that they still would like to have like close to a 50-50 split. I mean, again, they got dragged out of it in this game because they really didn't have any choice. And they ended up with 46 pass attempts and 31 rush attempts. I bet if this game isn't a 15-point game in the fourth quarter, or as crooked as it is even in the first half, that the run-pass split is closer to 50-50.
Well, the next team they're going to play that they're not more than a 6-point favorite, or less actually than a 6-point favorite against, is in Week 6, and that's the Falcons. Like they should be, they're 6 to 7-point favorites against the Jets. Unless something weird happens, it'll be the same or more against Miami, at least as much against New Orleans in Week 4, and then New England in Week 5. Maybe New England sort of shows itself to be actually not terrible by then, but Week 1, a big letdown, hasn't happened yet. So they'll be able to be the team that I think they want to be for a while here. We'll see what happens on Sunday, because I think they'll go into that game on Sunday trying to establish what they couldn't against the Ravens, which is like, this is who we were last year. We own this division. We're just going to bully you up front.
Yeah, and the game in New York last year was that.
Without Cook.
Cook missed it, but Davis, the first drive of that game, I just heard Chris and Steve on One Bills Live talking about this game from last year. 10-play drive to start the game, 9 runs.
But they still barely won.
I know, but they attacked that way, and I would guess that they'll try to do the same thing against the Jets.
Me too. I think I'll reserve the right to hate it, because you shouldn't ever barely beat the Jets if you have Josh Allen, right? Like they barely won. That was in the crux of our sort of angst about what they're trying to do, because like that came out the last 2 days on this show from fans. Like, why do you have to be under pressure to let him out? Mm-hmm. And that's a good question. It's always been a good question. And that game, the Monday night game, right? Monday? Yep. Monday night game last year at the Jets was one where, like, why do we have to play it so close? And also the year before against them where you lost.
I think if I remember it right, they got out. It worked enough for them to get a lead, and then I think they only scored 3 points in the second half. Like they just escaped.
Yeah, well, that's the Ravens Sunday without the escape.
With a win, yeah. So, I mean, it worked effectively enough for them to build a lead, but then they just didn't. They couldn't do that well enough to continue to extend that lead, pad that lead, whatever. So it was, but I think the Jets' personnel is still very much similar enough that I would expect that they would think, all right, this is how we can beat you. We're going to come out and, Jackson Hawes and Alec Anderson, and let's go.
So is it okay?
I mean,
isn't that the question? Like,
I think, of course, it's okay as long as it wins.
Well,
that's
obvious.
That's all that matters. So, and it won. This is Brandon Beane calling the morning show after the draft. He was scheduled to be on. He didn't just call in. I don't mean to phrase it that way to make it more pejorative, but. Scoreboard. Like, it's fine. If you're going to score 30 points a game, it's fine. But you don't want to be clawing from behind against every good team you play because you're so conservative going into it.
I know, but they're not going to play any good teams.
Right.
For 2 months.
Yeah, we might not have an answer to this for a while.
What do we do then? Right? I mean,
yell at each other.
That's really, I think, like if you're at steak night tonight, which I don't know. You're saying I'm not dressed for it.
No, I'm saying the shoes are weird. The rest of it is good. The shoes are odd.
I couldn't find the shoes I wanted.
The shoes are an odd choice.
But it's, of course, Fluvog. If you're at steak night tonight and the Bills come up, isn't this the conversation? Isn't this sort of like the intelligent conversation right now that Bills fans are having? Everybody knows how good Allen is. Everybody knows what they've done. Everybody knows how bad the division is probably going to be. Okay, so what is it when it matters? Are they going to try to boat race good teams, or are they just going to try to beat them 23-20? That's really the question. That's the question about Sean McDermott. That's the question about the Bills. They don't have what they want because in the playoffs, it's different things. It's kind of nuanced, but it's like they can't get the stop, or they play it a little bit too slow, and then time's up, and Kansas City's shooting off fireworks, and we go home. Like, are they going to be? Maybe the game won't be in Kansas City this time. Like, that's what right now is about. Whatever you have to do, win all these games, and then play who you need to play at home in the playoffs, off a bye, maybe off like the Chiefs had last year, which was like 2-3 weeks off, whatever it was, like just sort of get yourself into the best position. But I don't know what Sunday was so famously cool for the comeback and the spectacle of it. What a game. What did we learn about who they want to be? Is it anything different? If you're somebody that thought they were just too run-minded, too conservative, if that's not the same thing, I don't want it to be the same thing, then, is anything different right now? Like, they played their equal, give or take, and they pretty much got buried until it just sort of flipped at the end and they escaped. I guess I'm saying I don't feel any better. The wide receiver point, the Brandon Beane stuff, like Samuel is a scratch. Is he dead? Like, is Samuel just dead? Elijah Moore is one target. It's not everybody eats. It's Coleman and Shakir in desperation and Palmer. Like, they were under duress and they went to those guys and it worked. And Cook is just Cook, right? I mean, he's 5 for 58, including a 51. He's 4 for 7 plus a 51. I don't know. Is that meaningful? So Jackson, Hawes, Knox, Kincaid had the early one. That was about it for him. Is it okay? That's all I'm doing.
Big one at the half too, Kincaid. That was
right.
a
One
good
of the
job
two
on that play.
That's right. Is it okay?
I think for now it is. And I don't know. I think we'd feel differently if we got one of these games. It feels like we're a long ways. I'm now thinking, and this is not a project I think I'm going to undertake during the next commercial break. I want to go back, under Brady. Is there a game? You remember the game? Funny, they're playing at the Jets here. Early in Allen's career with Dayball. We're what do we have here? And how much are they going to trust Allen? And they come out and it's 14 passes in a row. This is
week one.
Yeah, he's just boom, 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 boom. This is who we want. Get ready, NFL. Here we come. We definitely feel like we are very far from that. But I don't know. I might be, we all might be, because they are a more run-centric team, and we're sort of consumed by everybody eats. I'm wondering if there's a game in here in Brady's tenure as coordinator where that happens. Where it's, beginning of the game or a close game, and you get just pass. One does not spring to mind. I mean, the most recent one I can think of is that Jet game, and that's 4 or 5 years ago now. It seems like a long time ago.
That's 19 opener.
Wow, right.
I think. Because 20 opener is COVID and the Bills are at home against the Jets
right.
and nobody's there. So that's 19. CJ Mosley.
It's a very long time ago. Yeah.
They're down and John Brown, they pull it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Send your complaints to at WGR550 on Bulldogs here, so we'll call it the X platform. 803-0550. Is the offense good for you? Is anything different after Sunday? We will talk Jets with Dan Leberfeld at 4. Sal joins us at 5. Trista is back, 6 o'clock tonight. Is that tonight?
Yes, that is tonight.
6 is tonight? 5 is today? 6 is tonight?
Yes.
6 you'd call tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments on my outfit are welcome. I mean, see the whole thing, but bring it. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR. Outlet Liquor, George Urban Boulevard.
And, I put in so much hard work to try to limit things like that from happening, the maintenance I do, but it's football, me understanding that, but blessed and highly favored because I was able to walk off the field, not get carted off, so I got to count the baby steps and count the little small blessings for sure.
Trey White with Sal Capacio. Sal will join us at 5 Eastern. We'll see about Trey White for week 2. Such a huge win. Cannot be overstated, I think. Ross was this way yesterday. Just, you can't say enough about how important it was for the Bills to get that win. Imagine if they don't. However, they don't come back. Hamilton blocks the field goal. Whatever. Mm-hmm. You just lose. And what are we talking about for the next while is just like the climb to the 1, and the Ravens would have the game and a half, that extra edge for having the tiebreaker. Now the Bills have that. The Ravens have the tougher schedule, not this week, but they're both big favorites this week.
And the Chiefs could be staring at an 0-2 start. I mean, I know they're at home, but they've got the Eagles coming in, and it's 1 week, but the Chiefs looked at worse than any contending team in the AFC, like a real. I don't know, Cincinnati, how
Houston.
Yeah, of the big 3, certainly the Chiefs were the lousiest looking.
But they could have won.
Sure,
right? Like they get the stop on Herbert there, and I don't know. This is our thing, right? Where like you're down less than 1 score, but you have the ball with 2 minutes to go. Who would you rather be?
I would expect Kansas City to win that game. Yeah.
Throwing 5 passes to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, it definitely felt like I know like so much has happened since Friday night, and like we don't get we get a couple days in between and never really get to sit with that game because it almost seems like an afterthought. But yeah, they're in 3rd and 14 or whatever that is, 3rd and 15.
Yeah. And
Herbert takes off for 19 yards. I don't know what Bills fan that was watching that game wasn't thinking, here we go again. Like the Chiefs, they're going to get away with it. They look awful. They're maybe their most important receiver, aside from the guy that's suspended, is hurt in the first series. And they're on the ropes, but they're going to get the ball back, and they're going to go down and win the game.
They did not put Worthy on IR today. So they're thinking fewer than 4 games, like we just heard from Trey White, the Bills and him. Eagles Sunday, at the Giants next Sunday night. Okay, well, it's primetime on the road. They'll be favored. Baltimore in week 4. At Jacksonville Monday night, week 5. Detroit at home Sunday night, week 6. Raiders, Washington, home week 8, Monday night. You see a lot of the Chiefs. Then they're here. Before you know it, they'll be here.
Yeah.
Like, what would they take? What would you take, before we get to your calls, what would you take for Kansas City going into the Bills game? 5-3? No. It's close.
I think so.
You take 5-3?
I think I would.
Kansas City?
With that schedule, I mean, assuming they're still, like if the Bills had lost and had that schedule, I would want to feel like 5-3 is realistic. I don't think it's like outrageous to ask for more than that. To have them lose 4 games in the first half of the season would be incredible.
But to take it means like, all right, well, I'll settle for 5-3.
Yeah.
Is 4-4 realistic? Like, are you worried about 4-4?
I need to hear the games again, please.
Eagles at home at the Giants. Ravens at home at the Jaguars Monday night. Lions at home Sunday night. Raiders at home. Washington at home Monday night.
So
5-3 would be my guess. I think that's the minimum.
Get the Giant and Jacksonville games should be wins.
Road games.
Sure.
The rest are all at home.
And the Raider game, I think you're favored in all 3 of those games, depending on what happens between now and then, of course. But like sitting here today, you're favored in all 3 of those games. Then the other ones, maybe I'm splitting. Like right? Are there 4 contending-ish teams in there that you rattled off?
Philly, Baltimore, Detroit, Washington.
Right.
Like that's
So
3. It's 4 great teams from last year.
Give me a split there. And is that not 5-3?
That's 5-3.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do worse.
No, I that's right. I mean, just the idea of them being 0-2 is intoxicating.
Oh. I agree. 803-0550. Here's Anthony. Hi, Anthony.
How you doing?
Great.
Great. I'm listening, and I'm going, here we go again. They allowed 40 points. Here's a team that Josh Allen should be thrown for 200 yards a half. He's at 143 after 3 quarters, and then it's like, oh, yeah, I guess we got to throw downfield. The first drive, they went up 50 yards, nice pass to Kincaid, but almost everything was behind the line of scrimmage. And why does this team think that this is what can win against good teams? Because we've seen it all the time in the playoffs. The defense is gashed continually, and it comes down to getting lucky and winning the turnover, which they won because Derrick Henry fumbled the ball. Otherwise, it's tough.
Right.
I mean, I don't want Allen to throw for 400 yards, but I don't want him to have 140 yards going into the fourth quarter, not leading a game. And that second drive just killed me when they tried to rush up to the line of scrimmage, 3 runs in a row, and then all of a sudden all the momentum was let out of the sails, so to speak. And, we're going to learn nothing. We're going to learn nothing until they play a good team again. And when they play Cincinnati and Cincinnati can throw to Higgins and Chase nonstop, then we'll see how they do. And you know what? Kansas City, I'm not worried about. And to look at their schedule, I don't care. Because you know what? They're going to end up ahead of Kansas City, and they'll beat them because they're at home. It'll be the playoffs. And that's the problem. And you know what? We're lucky. We have a team that can go 17-0. Whether they go 17-0, they got by the toughest opponent they're facing all year.
That's right.
Week 1.
Yep.
And will Baltimore score 40 points every week? Then we'll see how their defense, how the defense is, because I don't think Baltimore's offense is that good that they can walk up and down the field like they did.
Thanks, Anthony. They went into the season when the schedule came out as favorites against everybody. Then the line turned and they were underdogs against the Ravens. Now they're going to be favored against everybody else, unless something goes really sideways before the Chiefs are here in week 9 or whatever that is.
Yeah.
They'll be favored in every game until that one, at least.
The best I can do for you on the defense right now is to tell you that, at least as far as what's new there goes, the rookies on the defensive line did not have a good day to start the game. I mentioned this a few times yesterday. Sanders is on the field for, I think, 16 snaps. 4 of them were touchdowns. There's big plays all over the place. He and Sanders together, he and Walker together weren't good. Walker didn't play a defensive snap in the fourth quarter of this game. Like I think it became obvious to them, the coaches watching this unfold, like, we can't trust these guys right now. And those are guys Sanders is a second-round pick. You are counting on impact there. Walker's had a nice summer, and that is supposed to be a thing that is going to help you avoid disasters like you had against Baltimore. Stop the run, shore that up. They're 0 for 1 on that count. They got trampled in this game, and the kids had to get off the field. So, it's a long season, and you're talking about rookies. All right, so learning curve, and hopefully, they managed to get this win, and the schedule softens up here, and hopefully everybody can kind of figure out what they're capable of and who should be doing what. Eventually, they'll get Hoyt and Ogunjobi into the mix, and maybe by mid-season or later, you've got a better idea of what your mix is, percentage of snaps, who can be relied on, that kind of thing. But for starters, those 2 defensive tackles were a disaster in this game. And they're not alone. Like the line, I watched a great breakdown. Joe Marino is doing some stuff with Jeremy, and he's a regular guest on the morning show. They're doing a podcast together with Jerry Ostrowski. I watched Joe's film breakdown of the game. It's not every play, right? But it's just, pockets of the game. Here's this play. Let me give you an example of what was going on here. Milano and Bernard had a very tough game. And, you could say in their defense, well, if the defensive tackles weren't doing their job, that's a part of the problem. But Joe does a great job of sort of explaining just routes were bad, routes, whatever, to the ball carrier. There were mistakes from guys that you're counting on to be much better than that, and don't even get me to the safeties. That was also really bad. And those aren't rookies. But as far as what's new, because Milano and Bernard, you want to just say bad game, because they've been good players, even great players, all pro for Milano at one point in his career. You shouldn't be worried about them, but man, I'm telling you, they had a tough game on Sunday.
But you could be worried about them. I mean, Milano's been through a lot. Bernard's okay; he's been a playmaker, but he's not somebody that I think is going to be on any all-pro teams or all-star teams just playing.
Yeah. The point I'm making is the new guys that you were counting on to make a difference, I mean, they had to be taken off the field.
Well, it's one game, or let's stop drafting them. Start drafting speed one of these years. Playmakers. Here's Greg next. Hi, Greg.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Listen, one of the things I heard Josh Allen continually talk in the postgame interviews is that the game is 60 minutes long. It's 60 minutes. He said it over and over and over again. And nobody has mentioned the fatigue factor to Baltimore and that they did not play 60 minutes of football. And why did that happen? Maybe this defensive line and our offense wore them down and created fatigue. Derrick Henry fumbles that ball because he's fatigued. And I'd like to know what Henry's stats are in the second half minus that long run. How many runs did he have, and what were his stats? And when a team is winning by 15, 16 points in a fourth quarter, and you can't run the ball, and you've got Derrick Henry, something tells me on the sideline with Harbaugh, when he doesn't go for it 4th and 3, he has no confidence in his team because his team is fatigued. And then on top of it, Keon Coleman and Allen are as fresh as can be in the fourth quarter. And they're tearing apart two cornerbacks that are supposed to be the premier cornerbacks in the league. And they're injured. I saw one had a hand injury. Something else was going on with the other one. And maybe it's physicality. And maybe the Bills team is just that physical.
I'm sorry. This does not hold up at all.
Okay.
The Bills ran 85 plays in this game. The Ravens 51. The Ravens offense was tired. 85 to 51.
Yeah.
How many yards did Henry have besides that?
I don't know. You wanted to take out his touchdown. It's easily looked up. You could look it up. It's easily looked up. I don't know.
I don't have the stats. I'm not.
Well, you have a computer. I mean, I don't know it either, but you could look it up. I just don't think this holds up at all.
You guys are there. Look it up. Tell me what it was.
Well, the defense, I would buy that their defense could have been fatigued. 85 plays is a lot of plays. But I don't know about Henry. Week one, him getting tired seems hard to fathom for me.
He hadn't played a game in 9 months.
So
he's running through the Bills' defense. He was tired. He's had games where he had 30 carries. You want to know the answer? Find out the answer. But to me, it's not even a consideration that he would have been tired there. Outside of everybody's tired because it's week one and there haven't been the hard yards, if you will, to that point. But I can't believe that Baltimore changed its approach to the game because they were tired. I mean, it's the opener. And the offense was so easy for them. It would just be incredible to me if you're right. It'd be more egregious how they lost the game if they decided that their guys were just not Derrick Henry, who cannot ever get hurt or be stopped even in January. He's tired? Please. Dan Leberfeld at 4, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Yes, welcome back. It is Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on WGR. Dan Leberfeld. We go way back with Dan. He'll be with us in about 15 minutes, maybe less. Sal Capacio today. Trista.
Hey now.
Makes her season debut with us. We'll talk Survivor strategy and steak night strategy with Trista. I think she could probably have a thing or two to say about steak night. That's the night. Can you overdo it? When you have won the right to a free whatever is included steak dinner, do you hold back? Do you demur to your friends who are paying for it? Maybe.
I don't know. I think I just go and eat my normal meal. I think there's never a scenario where being a pig is good and called for.
That's fair.
So I don't think that you definitely don't want to go overboard, but You laid it out yesterday. Like if I'm going to a steakhouse and I want to have I don't know, there's some sort of crab cake or scallop appetizer and a Caesar salad and a steak and some asparagus, some kind of potato or a rice pilaf or something. Okay, that's good. And then the dessert, coffee, port, whatever.
Your ports.
I think that's all in play. I think
right.
You go anything. Hey, I want you like the nephew in Caddyshack. Like, I want a sausage and I want a hamburger and I want, I really like the sound of the veal, but I want steak too. I'm gonna get both. Like no.
I would like a steak with an apple pie on top.
Right, it's not okay.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, you should. A reasonable adult person, I think, should have this. You should be able to manage this.
That's what you play for.
And not leave and not sell yourself short. You did win something, so get it. Get what you won.
Exactly.
But don't, make it hurt.
Well,
unnecessarily.
If I'm in the bottom third here, it's going to hurt. But what I would do is just not eat. If I had to pay for you, I would just I'd just get I'm
getting
the kids meal.
Right.
Give me the kids menu.
You got some dinosaur chicken.
Dinosaur nuggets, macaroni and cheese, milk. I would get milk.
Dino nuggets in SpaghettiOs. You have that here at this fancy place?
I'll have the applesauce, please. Russ is with us. Hello, Russ.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys.
You're welcome.
Bulldog, you talked a little bit about some of the new players on the field. What's your guys' opinion of some of the new players participants that were on the field, namely the virtual chain gang? Allen obviously got screwed on that slide, and then the Bills ran a quick play, which they did not get, trying to convert. That was fourth down that was in the fourth quarter with 10:45 left. And watching those earlier games, it seemed like there were a bunch of instances where they're in a hurry up to move the chains and the virtual chain gang. And, if the whole idea was to get this more precise and more accurate, I don't know. How do you guys think they did? I wasn't impressed.
I don't know. Nothing was different about what happened on the Allen slide play. The ball is still spotted by a human. They spotted it, and it was wrong, and it didn't get corrected. The virtual part of it had nothing to do with it. As far as I can tell, I don't know if I'm missing something there, but I don't think it was a factor at all there. It just, where was the ball spotted is what matters, and that's still done by a referee or an official.
I just have a tough time with the idea of it more than the micro play-to-play. I am under their spell thinking that they're going to change anything they want, spot it, ball spots, flags that come in. They're always adding to the number of the things that they have the legal, if you will, right to overturn. And it's just not transparent enough for me. Does anybody know who the people are that are in charge of this? There's what sports has done gradually over many years. Think about hockey and the names on the back of the officials' jerseys. They don't want you to know who anybody is. They don't want you to know who the officials are. They don't want you to know who's making these calls. And I feel like I probably sound a little bit nuts, but I just don't think it's transparent enough. It isn't transparent enough for me to feel good about the whole thing. So maybe, in theory, sure, they'll get ball spots right. The idea this year was they would have these Hawkeye technology measurements. I didn't see one. There probably was one. I didn't see one in any game I watched this weekend, and I watched all of it. And the idea was if it's close, we'll have the technology measure it. But I think what the league would prefer, because it moves the game along, and they're always criticized for how, if there's a lot of officiating, the games take too long. Let's just sort of decide. Is this critical?
Right.
This was Dallas-Philadelphia quintessentially for me last week, where the line judge rushed in and let's go, and didn't even look to me like Hurts got it. But they gave it to him.
Right.
Because it already had a lightning delay, and just I'm just not on board.
I wonder if that Hawkeye thing got shown at all in the stadium on Sunday night or any stadium and just didn't make it onto a broadcast. If they were on to something else on the broadcast and didn't get to so I don't know. I also didn't notice any of that. It was in the preseason they were even doing it on plays that weren't that close to sort of show you we've got this now, and the announcers are, so here's the new thing we've got that's really not that different from what it's been, but look, it's new.
They would want you to see it.
Right.
If they're using it, the networks in the league, that's the same thing, would want you to see it. But I don't know the answer to your question, but I don't think – I never saw it happen on Sunday.
Me either.
Dan Leberfeld on week 2, Bills-Jets. Next, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
On the practice field earlier today, 5 players were limited. Cornerback Trey White, groin; edge rusher Greg Rousseau, knee; tight end Dawson Knox, hip; running back James Cook, hamstring; and return man Brandon Codrington, knee. We did have 2 players not practicing, although that was confirmed by Sean McDermott earlier today. Cornerback Taron Johnson, quad, and linebacker Shaq Thompson, hamstring and a hand issue. The Barnes Firm Injury Report. It is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured? For help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll get more on today when Sal Capacio joins the show in just about an hour at 5 p.m. The Bills, though, did make some additions before practice. They add to the practice squad defensive tackle Federian Mathis, and then quarterback Josh Allen was named the AFC's Offensive Player of the Week. This is Allen's 16th time winning the award, the most of any player in the NFL. Some practice notes around the NFL. Chiefs wide receivers Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals both not practicing. Worthy a shoulder and Royals a knee. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy not practicing due to a left shoulder and toe issue. And then Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen says rookie Travis Hunter will get more snaps on defense against Cincinnati. Minnesota forward Kirill Kaprizov, according to a report from Frank Cervelli, turned down an 8-year, $128 million extension. If accepted, that would have made Kaprizov the highest-paid player in NHL history. And then in baseball, Bison's at Rochester just after 6 o'clock. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. And then the majors, 6:45, Mets at Phillies. Then just after 7, Toronto, they host Houston, while the Yankees, they have the Tigers in town. And the Jays, they do hold a 3-game lead in the AL East with just 18 games to go. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
If you wrap foil around that, just like the little bit of the base part of the banana where the fruit is, wrap foil around that top and they will last longer.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Who needs your bananas to last longer, though?
Look, I don't want to go to the store every other day for bananas.
They're 8 cents each.
What the hell are you talking about? What is going on?
You're going to wrap them in foil?
They're better when they're just a little green. Yeah.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Too much work.
Not that much trouble, really.
Too much work.
Says the guy that's got a spreadsheet with 3,000 fantasy teams.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I thought of you and this yesterday. I often do.
The banana thing?
I was buying corn.
Okay.
And my wife wrote on the
same
shopping list.
Well,
depends.
Good point. Once it's peeled.
Good point. My wife put on the shopping list 3 ears. I bought 4. There are 4 people living in our house.
Mm-hmm.
They're 50 cents each.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw another one on the pile.
She thought 3 cut in half would be enough.
I don't know. We don't talk anymore. I don't know. But I just I added the 50 cents of corn.
All right.
Right? Dan Leberfeld, this is always so much fun with Dan. I feel like Dan might be a little bit sort of, conflicted or whatever when it comes to tweeting about being on with us. Like, he does it. I'm grateful for that. Here it is. We'll be on with Mike and the Bulldog on the great WGR 550 in Buffalo, 4 o'clock. But I know, Dan, when you get any references to Mike and the Bulldog, Schopp, and people are coming like, what? There's what a ripoff.
What a knockoff, right?
Yeah, how
right.
original.
Right.
But I appreciate that you'll still say it.
Well, I have stayed away from that for a while. I've taken the high road, but then I realized, you know what? Maybe we'll get some additional downstate listeners that are intrigued by that concept.
Yes.
And say, hey, Mike and the Bulldog sounds like something we'd like.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back.
You're helping us, Dan. We really we appreciate the lift. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe consider going with Mike and the Dog. Even no one's ever called me that, but like that could even help more.
Peter King called you that.
Oh, that's right, Dog. Yeah.
Schopp and the Dog. Well, if you can sort of rope in for our audience any of your fans who are thinking maybe there's a big FAN reunion happening right now, we're grateful. So good. How is life with the Jets? What was Sunday for you? It's a loss. I actually, it's a long time ago, but I actually thought of like Kelly's debut here where the Bills lost to the Jets as it happens, but you probably left that game going, all right, this is still good. Like we've maybe got something here. That might be a lot to say about Justin Fields and this new era, if you will, with the Jets. But it was promising in some respects.
Yeah, it was a great game. I mean, there's no question about it. You guys saw a great game up by you. This was another great game. It really was a great football game. And the Jets came up on the short end. You know, they could have been a situation. I know the kicker nailed a 60-yard field goal to end the game. It probably should have been a shorter field goal because it was probably a PI on the previous play on a deep pass to Austin. So that's another thing. And I almost felt like, I mean, I can't read the minds of officials, but these officials are human beings. And I'm looking at that official through my binoculars and thinking, I don't think that official wants to do that to the Jets fans, throws that flag. I'm telling you, I can't prove it, and these officials have a lot of integrity, but I do think sometimes there are heartstring calls or lack of calls. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. I know it sounds very conspiratorial, but just getting into the fact that, yeah, he did nail a 60-yard field goal, Boswell, but it probably should have been a 35 or 40-yard field goal because it was probably a PI on the previous play.
Dan, I won't venture into heartstrings, but I do think we have evidence over the years in all sports that if you're A, the home team, and B, losing, you'll get calls. Like, I think you'll get the benefit of the doubt on a few plays. So that might have been what happened there. I'm not sure it had anything to do with the fact that the Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years or 15 years. But I think it might be just sort of like there was a call in the Bills game when the Bills were down by 2 touchdowns. I'm like, I've been watching football all day. This call is made now because the home team is losing, and you know we can make that call now. I think there's a lot. If you want to get into this, I'm here for it. The league they want it to be so streamlined. We've got the space ref. We've got this real sort of attention on how long games are and how many flags are thrown. That the league, I think maybe it's worse in the league's eyes to have a long game with lots of flags that maybe we wouldn't argue about any of the calls than a game where it sort of moves faster and we will argue about a couple, but we don't have announcers complaining about that this game is over 3.5 hours.
Yeah, so there's always going to be a human element. So we always hear the talk in the offseason, make the officials full-time employees. That would help them in terms of doing their job better. It wouldn't help. They're still human beings, and they're still going to make mistakes. They're still going to have some emotions. It is what it is.
How tough was it to listen to Aaron Rodgers talk about how meaningful it was to him to stick it to the Jets on Sunday, Dan, after everything that went down in New York?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what you guys thought of how the meeting was handled, the final meeting between Aaron Glenn and Aaron Rodgers, where the new Jets coach told them they were moving on. We all know what Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show about that meeting. He was very upset about how brief it was. He said he flew cross-country, and then the meeting was 10, 15 minutes, and we're moving on. He didn't like how that meeting was handled, and it was still sticking in his craw when the Jets faced the Steelers on Sunday, and then they beat the Steelers. The Steelers beat the Jets, and he was more than willing to go down that road. And it was a question from Brian Costello from the New York Post about, all that stuff. I don't know if it would have elicited the same response if it was from a Pittsburgh reporter, but when Brian walked in the room, you could see a little look in Aaron's eyes, like, okay, I got the guy in here right now who's going to ask me the question that I want to go off on. So I don't know what you guys think. I know Aaron Rodgers does not have a lot of friends in the media, but do you think Aaron Glenn handled that? Whatever you think of Rodgers, if you're going to move on from a player, should you give him the bum's rush like that in the final meeting?
I think objectively it's fair to say that Aaron Glenn went out of his way to embarrass him. If it went down the way Rodgers says. Really, whether you were upset about it or not depends on what you think of Rodgers. I don't happen to be a fan of how he's handled himself really since before he left Green Bay. So I like any time that he's going to get humbled or embarrassed. But objectively, I think Glenn did him a little dirty.
Yeah, so I think if there might have been a little extra motivation. But the amazing thing about that game is the fact that the Jets' pass rush was excellent. Now, if you just looked at the final score and you looked at Rodgers' stats, nearly a perfect quarterback rating, and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you'd say, wow, he really lit them up. And I guess he did in a way, but they were on him all game. And that's an angle that I wrote about today for my website about they can't expect that to happen this week against the Bills. The Steelers' offensive line is a mess right now. The first-round left tackle, Broderick Jones out of Ohio State, had a terrible game. I don't want to go too far with that because Will McDonald, the edge over there, had a good game. So there's a little bit of both. But Broderick Jones was really struggling, and Rodgers took a terrible beating. It's one of those games where he's thinking to himself, this is definitely it this year. I don't know how much more of this I can go through. The right tackle wasn't much better. So if you have a game where you hit the quarterback all day, you're sacking him, you're hitting him, quarterback pressures galore, and he still throws 4 touchdowns, you have a little bit of a problem in terms of your back 7. And that takes me to this game. The Bills' offensive line is a lot better than the Pittsburgh Steelers is, and you have a quarterback who's going to extend plays longer than Rodgers. So I think that big plus for the Jets last week in terms of their pass rush, I'm not sure it's going to be as good this week. And what is Mr. Allen going to do against the back 7 that missed so many assignments against Rodgers in week 1? That's something to keep an eye on.
Well, that'll be interesting because the Bills always, and Josh Allen himself, have not always had great days there. Week 2, Bills at Jets. Dan Leberfeld, our guest on the West Her Hotline. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Dan's at Jets Whispers on Twitter, JetsConfidential.com. Well, staying with the Jets before we get too much into this particular matchup, Dan, did Sunday, in the end, change anything for you in terms of expectations, whether that's, you're talking about the D-line, the trenches, even Fields? What was a good goal for the Jets this year, and is that different a week later?
Well, I'll break that down a little bit in a few different ways. At the quarterback position, I still think we need to sit back and wait a little bit. Week 1, I'm not taking anything away from Fields, but week 1, you should have the mother of all game plans. You'll have all the bells and whistles. The 2 words I heard the most last week from players and coaches, not just with the Jets, but watching stuff around the league, was unscouted looks. I don't know if you guys heard that term a lot last week, meaning in week 1, you get a lot of unscouted looks. It's a 3-month game plan. From the time the schedule comes out to the game, you have the most time by far to prepare for that game compared to any other game. So, once again, not taking anything away from Fields, but it was a perfect game for Fields to shine. First of all, the Steelers are slow at corner. That's going to be another problem for them. But also, with all he can do, with his great arm, with his world-class speed, and here's the other thing about this guy. He's like Josh Allen. He's a big guy. I'm talking about physically like Josh Allen. This guy's 6'3", 230. So he's not only got a great arm and he's fast to run away from people, he is big. He breaks tackles. So he's kind of got that going on. So week 1, you do all the different bells and whistles and nuances that you could do in week 1. And I think the challenge is in the weeks that follow with the teams like Buffalo this week, now having film on the player with the New York Jets with this OC, the challenge could become more significant. But they were improved in some areas. There's no doubt about it. Their run defense in week 1 was a heck of a lot better than last year, and their running game was outstanding. So they can run the football and they can stop the run. Obviously, 2 very important things in the NFL.
I saw some very positive reviews of the play of the 2 tackles. Last year's first-round pick, Fashanu, and then this year's first-round pick, Membo. That looks like a pretty solid pairing moving forward. Fashanu's not new news. I think he had a pretty solid rookie season. You can tell me if that's a miss on my end here. But pairing him with another new guy, it looks like they might have bookends in place.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. I was just talking to someone in the press room, and I don't subscribe to Pro Football Focus. Nothing against it. I just don't subscribe to it. They said, according to Pro Football Focus, that Membo is the highest-rated lineman in the league, regardless of position. To come out of the gate and do something like that against T.J. Watt. Now, T.J. Watt moves around a lot, but still, T.J. Watt is over there a lot. A remarkable opening day for Membo. He wasn't as much a slam dunk prospect as Fashanu on the other side. Fashanu, everyone knew, was a top 10, top 12 pick who had a great career at Penn State. This guy, Membu, was a second-team all-conference in the SEC last year. And when he reached out to the advisory board in the NFL office where players ask, what round, I'm a junior, what round might I go in? They said second to third. So he and his family had to think about it. He entered the draft, and then he killed the combine. I mean, 4.9, 140, vertical leap. His workout was so sensational, that springboarded him into the top 10. And he played really well. Fashion is really good. And the devastating injury where they lost Vera Tucker, the guard, right before the season, I don't think they're going to be as devastated by that as people thought out of the gate. Mm-hmm. He is a great player. But let me tell you something about Joe Tippmann. Joe Tippmann, the guard, now the former center for the Jets, he had issues with shotgun snaps last summer, this summer, last season, on and off. You take that off his plate, where he had the yips a little bit with the shotgun snaps. Now you just fire off the ball at 6'6", 320 athletic. The center is huge. Josh Myers out of Ohio State. They've got a really good offensive line. I think Tippmann could be a better guard than center because I'm telling you right now, that shotgun snapping was weighing on his mind. So very, very positive opening day for the Jets O-line, and that should be one of the strengths of their team.
Dan, break Fields' performance down for us, if you would, a little bit more. I think most fans who haven't watched him, or even those who have, think you sort of hear the same things all the time. Slow processor, maybe you want to just get him, of course, you want to get him into passing situations. As a runner, he can be electric. What Sunday, if anything, was different about that? I saw Bulldog maybe saw more of it. I saw some of this game, and every time I looked in at it, I was really impressed with Fields until the last play, where maybe that's sort of like a experience thing where you'd want him to just run there rather than throw, Garrett Wilson to the Wolves like that. What did you think, and what might be right or wrong about the sort of the assumptions being made about him?
Yeah, it was definitely a very strong debut, and somebody was asking Aaron Glenn today and then actually asked Justin Fields, is it hard what do you do for an encore after a first game like that? It's really it's true. Like, the bar is so high right now that I don't think you can expect him to do that every Sunday. I think when you look at it, I think the first-time NFL offensive coordinator, Ingstrand, who's calling the plays for the Jets, called a really good game. I think when you look at the Jets' pass protection, it was excellent, so he had a lot of time to throw. And Garrett Wilson, with time to find holes in the secondary, or in this case, run away from corners. And that was something I mentioned before. The Steelers, Joey Porter Jr., or the second, I'm sorry, I don't know the end of his name, but the son of Joey Porter, he's a good player, but he's not particularly fast. Same with Slay, who came over for the Eagles, not a fast corner. So he was running away from those guys. And Jalen Ramsey obviously lit him up on that last play, but Jalen Ramsey not the fastest corner either, so they couldn't run with him, and he was finding him a lot. The running game was incredible, and if you're going to have success with this quarterback, you need a running game. I'm not just talking about him running. You need a strong running game, and Breece Hall and company were really strong out of the gate because this guy needs the play action opportunities. He needs the bootlegs. Obviously, a lot of read option, a lot of RPOs. So all that was going on Sunday. It was a perfect storm. Week one, so you can pull a lot of surprises out. A team that is not strong at corner. Ramsey's good, don't get me wrong. They're strong with Ramsey, but there's not a lot of speed back there, so they were having issues with the Jets' speed at receiver. And then you look at the fact that the Jets' running game was great. It was all a perfect storm, but let's see what he does over the course of the first month. As Bill Parcells would say, let's not put him in Canton just yet, fellas.
On the defensive side of the ball, a lot of familiar names. One new face to the Jets anyway, but not a new name or face to us is Harrison Phillips, who was a late summer ad in a trade. But the rest of the starting lineup, I mean, there's just names we've been seeing for a few years now, and this is a unit that's had decent success against the Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah, and it is a new system under Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes, but it's a very similar philosophical approach to what Robert Saleh is doing. So it's not that different. So it could give Allen trouble, but if they don't clean some things up on the back end. Now, Sauce Gardner was excellent in his matchup with DK Metcalf, but he didn't have a lot of company in the excellent category. Let's put it that way. There were just too many blown assignments, and guys pointing at each other, who had who, was that your guy, and things like that. And Josh Allen is going to feast on something like that. The Jets linebackers need to do a heck of a lot better in coverage. That was a problem last year. We know they could stop the run with their 2 starting linebackers, but the pass coverage is hit or miss with them, and so this could be a big week for the tight ends of the Bills if they choose to dial up plays for those guys, because the Jets need improved play at linebacker in terms of pass coverage. They also need the corner opposite Sauce to play better. Brandon Stevens had a rough first game, the former Baltimore Raven. I don't totally blame him for it, because to me, I'm very big on, you got to bring out the strengths in your players, and you got to put them in position to succeed. And I'm not criticizing Aaron Glenn. I don't know whose decision it was, but having him cover Calvin Austin, Brandon Stevens is a 6'1", 215-pound corner who's a mauler at the line, not the twitchiest guy. Calvin Austin is a 5'8", 170-pound mighty might with unbelievable short area quickness and 4.3 speed. You can have a big corner on him all day and expect him to cut with him, and I'm just saying that that didn't go well. Calvin Austin, I don't know if you guys noticed, had a really good game opposite DK Metcalf. And the Buffalo Bills have a lot of those twitchy, change of direction, short area quickness kind of receivers. So that could be a problem for the Jets on Sunday, especially if they put Stevens on one of those guys. Stevens is a better matchup for a big physical receiver.
Let me count real quick, Bulldog, 39 waivers bids on Calvin Austin would suggest, yes, I did notice that in this game, but very small amounts. Dan, before you go, you probably watched the Sunday night game. Can you see the Jets sort of like Jackson and Henry, if you will, a sort of a poor man's version of that? I mean, Hall is great. Can they have that in like a minute or so that we have left? Can they be successful with a similar sort of game plan against Buffalo, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, they're going to run. They're going to do that this week. They did it last week. They're going to do it all season. And I've said this a lot about the Bills, and you guys know a lot more about them than I do. I love Sean McDermott. I love a lot of their defensive players. I love Milano. But there are games, obviously the Bills won, but when you face a big back, and Milano and the linebacker next to him are about 225 pounds, really good players. But when you have a massive line like Baltimore or a massive line like the Jets, and you have undersized linebackers, it's just a math equation problem. Sometimes it's going to be an issue in terms of being overpowered. So I think the Jets will run the ball very well on Sunday. I just don't know about them defending the back seven of the Jets, defending Josh Allen and all those weapons. But I think they'll run the ball, and they'll be successful at it.
Thanks, as always, Dan. Great to talk to you again.
Okay, and I promise no more Mike and the Bulldog.
Please, no. Keep it coming.
I had a weak moment. It's not fair to you guys. You guys are icons in Buffalo. You don't need to be in the shadow of a team that's not even on together anymore.
What was the poll about the tougher media market, by the way, supposed to imply?
Yeah, what was the point of that?
No, that was a compliment to Buffalo. And I know we don't have a lot of time here. And I watch a lot of press conferences because I pull a lot of sound bites from my radio show on Sirius XM. And I hear the press conferences. I hear the questions from Buffalo. Buffalo is a tougher football media market than New York City now. It wasn't 20 years ago, but it is now. Watch some of Aaron Glenn's press conferences and get back to me.
Would you do me a favor, even if it's off to the side, if you would? I would like to ask you, have you ask Tyrod Taylor that question?
No, but I think, once again, this is more a recent development. Maybe well, Tyrod doesn't do a lot of press conferences as a backup quarterback, but he might have an opinion based on his Giants days.
Well, sure. I mean, he's been through it all. But at one point when he was the Bills starter, he was on nationally and said how tough it was. And I just couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah, it's very tough.
I couldn't believe it.
This idea of the New York, I say New York City because you guys are in New York, and I'm not even in New York as I sit here right now in New Jersey. The point being that, yes, this once was a tougher market, but it isn't anymore in 2025. That was my point. Because I'm telling you right now, the other thing is, to Aaron Glenn's credit, he does have the New York media very intimidated. Check out one of his press conferences one day.
Well, if you're able to talk to Tyrod off to the side one day, I would love to know what he would say to this present day. Anyway, thank you, Dan. Always a pleasure.
Always fun, guys. Talk to you soon.
I enjoy listening to you on the weekends, too, by the way. I caught you a couple of times recently with Vic Carucci on your national show. Dan Leberfeld at Jets Whispers. We got to get to a break. 803-0550 to talk Bills with us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldogs. Sal at 5. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills got back to work today as they get ready to take on the Jets this Sunday. 5 players were limited. Cornerback Trey White, edge Greg Rousseau, tight end Dawson Knox, running back James Cook, and return man Brandon Codrington. Cornerback Taron Johnson and linebacker Shaq Thompson were the only 2 to not practice. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll get more on today when Sal Capacio joins the show. It's about a half hour at 5 p.m. The Bills did make some additions to the practice squad. Defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis, and then quarterback Josh Allen was named the AFC's Offensive Player of the Week. This is Allen's 16th time winning that award, the most of any player in the NFL. Some injury notes across the league. Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals both not practicing. Worthy a shoulder, Royals a knee. And 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy looking like he will not start this Sunday. He's not practicing today due to a left shoulder and toe issue. And then in baseball, Bison's at Rochester just after 6 o'clock. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. 6:45, Mets at Phillies. Then just after 7, Toronto hosts Houston, and the Yankees, they have the Tigers in town. The Jays hold a 3-game lead in the AL East with just 18 games to go. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, 2-point attempts haven't been great for us of late, so it's an area that we need to, again, another area early on here that, we need to focus in on and figure out what we can do better. Is it execution? Is it design? What is it? Because those plays are important in terms of, factoring into the overall score in the game.
That's one way to put it. Sean McDermott, the Bills 0 for 3, going for 2 on Sunday night. What were the plays? The third one is Coleman.
The fade to Coleman. To
tie it.
Yeah.
And that misses.
Yeah.
Matt Bowen, who I like on Twitter, used to play for the Bills, really good on breaking down what's happening in the secondary, said, great play by the Baltimore guy, Wiggins, on that play. He thought it was legal and fair.
He had his hand around the collar of Coleman's jersey and shoulder pads.
Nope.
I don't know.
Take that up with Matt.
So, it's not something I thought to bring up, to gripe about, because it's the crap happens. Right. And that crap happens both ways, I think, in games.
He thought it was a play where the DB had established himself as equal right to contact and the ball, I think.
I just didn't like that as a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's going to work sometimes. Coleman is good at that play. We saw him score a touchdown against Tariq Woolen in Seattle last year on that play. I'm not saying, eradicate it from the playbook, but, I mean, do you have better than a coin flip play for a 2-point conversion? It would be my question. It's just not an automatic to me. You're a jump ball, a 50-50 ball, I don't know, that is what it is. So do I have something that has better odds is what I often think. Maybe if the throw is placed a little differently, maybe it's a different outcome. I don't know.
Well, the first one, they had 3.
Yeah, I don't remember the other ones that well.
The first one is Coleman is behind the end zone.
Oh, when he gets he's out and then comes back in, and then that didn't count.
And he caught it, but they didn't count it.
That was that was a broken play, is what that turned into. I think what they wanted there, I think I saw this on a film breakdown I was watching yesterday. They have Elijah Moore doing this sort of orbit motion in the backfield, and then Ty Johnson goes out left, and Marlon Humphrey, it was for Baltimore, just sat on Johnson. He just met him right at the edge there, and so it was gone. And from there, I think that was the play. That was what they wanted. The design was they'll fall for this motion will throw them off, and Johnson's going to spring open. He didn't. Allen sees that immediately and just starts moving around trying to improvise, and that's how they ended up with the try to Coleman in the back after he'd been out of the end zone. So the design of the play was something we've seen them use. It didn't work. Baltimore blew it up.
By the way, this one also was they had kicked it, and there was a Ravens penalty. So they went from the 2 to the 1.
Right.
And then that happened. All the more reason. The middle one is the interception. Allen throws the end zone, first drive of the fourth quarter, and Hamilton intercepts. Laterals to Van Noy, who smartly comes out and then takes a knee.
Yeah.
He's really smart. None of these, if I'm getting this right, was Allen running. even from the 1.
Yeah.
Which, why would that ever not be your number one, A1 choice? You've got a third 2-point conversion in the game. The touchdown that preceded it was an Allen run. And, this is a little bit too smart for the room, I think, these 2-point plays. Here's McDermott telling us how they matter in the scoreboard. Thanks. But 0 for 3 on 2-pointers, and none of them is a running play? One's from the 1-yard line?
I wonder how much their struggles with the sneak play, I'm reluctant to call it the tush push, but going back, I mean, they had a tough time with that in their last loss in the playoffs against Kansas City, obviously in the title game, and it didn't go great on Sunday. So much so that when Allen scores eventually to I forget which touchdown that was now. Was that
40-38?
Okay. He just, he does the jumps over and just stuffs the ball over the goal line thing. He's not even trying to plow in there. It's just, I don't want to say he gave up on that, but he pivoted to jumping over and getting it in that way rather than just forcing their way in physically. So that's something to keep an eye on. I mean, that has been an almost automatic play for them, that their hit rate on that over the last 2 games they've played is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So that's a play that they, I think, count on, and it's something that I think helps make McDermott as comfortable as he is going for it on 4th and short. And if that gets, somehow taken away, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just a bad stretch, but they're not as effective. The 2 games in a row, they haven't been as effective with that play. Period.
Sunday at the Jets, Bills in white jerseys, blue pants for this game. At least it's not all blue. The worst uniform in sports.
Do not
the
like
all
the blue.
It's I've seen it recently called a unitard, and I can't stop calling it that in my mind. Just, that's a softball uniform. So white and blue.
White tops, blue pants. I like
lots of all white in the league on Sunday, and that's fine. Yeah. I think that's fine. At least that's a baseball uniform.
The Bills all white is by far my favorite combination. Next might be blue with white pants, blue top, white pants. They're wearing the inverse of that on Sunday, and I'm not nuts about that look. I like it better than all blue. All blue is the bottom, just the worst.
White and blue is OJ,
right,
for me. Which I like, actually. So there. I mean, some, I think, probably on the chat are talking about this, and I feel like it's probably important to address it. Only 1 drink.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Just water.
Do you still have that half a sandwich you wanted to trade me yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. I brought that back out in case this comes up. I forgot. I always forget to take it home. No vending machine drink, the coffee, it's enough.
Good job refrigerating that.
Thanks. Here's why. So once or sometimes even twice a week, the vending machine does not work.
Oh, really?
Today it was, you don't even swipe it. You sort of the credit card.
Tap.
And it's like tap. And then nothing. But today, money came out.
Really? There's a bank. The vending machine's turned into a bank.
Vend and T Bank.
I'm going to get out there. I'm going to go see if I can get some money out of the vending machine.
$2.25.
I'm down some change in my truck. My truck got ransacked overnight, so
what?
I left my truck open like an idiot, and I live in a neighborhood where people comb the neighborhood looking for idiots who leave their cars open, and I left mine open, and I had some coins taken. Really, that's all they took was coins.
Dark turn.
Yeah. Anyway, so I could use a replenish. Is all I'm saying.
Well, before you get too excited, I tapped the card, no drink, no nothing, but $2.25 came out. Here it is.
All right.
I mean, there's nothing to do but take it. Somebody's owed this money.
Yeah.
And what do you do immediately after that?
Put it in the machine to see if the coin thing works.
You scan again. Like you
right. Okay, I got you.
In my mind, it was, if I do this infinity number of times, $2.25 will come out every time. Like there's maybe a limit to it, but is this going to be a new source of income for me? Is if I tap the credit card, I don't need the drink. I got water. I'm good. I don't even really need the vitamin water. I've just got whatever that is. It's just sugar, right? So I've got the 225 comes out. I'm like, oh, I got to try this again.
Like 225 is like
it's good.
That's a jackpot at a vending machine to get 220. I thought you were going to have like a couple of dimes.
Way better.
225.
225.
That's
I've never had one of these gold.
That's a gas station cup of coffee right there. Is what that is.
These are $1, right? It says $1. I've never had the gold quarters.
Those I haven't seen those in ages.
Oh
wow.
Well, they're all in the machine. No, they're not Sacagawea though. One is George Washington and one is Lincoln.
I don't know what's going on with that.
But I think they're $1 each.
Does it not say?
It does say.
Okay, you can't.
It says
read it?
$1. No, it does say.
Oh, all right.
I think what I meant by I think is I know. So
why the confusion? Then?
I just decided to keep standing there and trying again and again, and nothing else happened.
I can't wait.
I'm going right back out.
I'll race you to the vending machine. To get to the.
It's a race.
I can't wait to get to the next break.
It's a race.
Although I don't know.
Mike Schopp with the Bulldog WGR. It's a race to the vending machine to see if more. I mean, what's good? If it spat out 225 every time, how long would you stand there? All night?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. We got security cameras.
What is the grievance? I'm not doing anything.
I mean, you're taking the money that is clearly not yours.
It is yours. If the vending machine you're working with gives you money, that's your money. I mean, maybe it's Joe Beamer's or something, but it's not. He's not there.
Well, that's what
I don't know whose it is. Whose is it?
If you didn't put it in, it's not yours.
Whose is it?
I think if you were to stand there doing that for hours enough to get like $80 or something, the vending machine company would have a beef with you.
The vending machine company?
Yes.
How about it works at one time?
Well, that's something to take up with them.
It feels like the time I won.
We should talk to the manager
on
make a phone call.
Patriots-Panthers Super Bowl when the sports book had a mistake and a typo. And Brad and I just crushed it on like over one catch, Muhsin Muhammad or something like that. And like, well, whose money is it? Maybe it's Brayton's. I don't know. Maybe it's Zach's money. Maybe it's your son's. That changes it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, for now, this is it's $225.
Yeah.
What a day I'm having. I'm going out for Steak League. I'm eating for free because I won the steak, or top 3 in the Steak League. I've already got. Well, I'm not going to say tip money because it's $2.25.
You got parking meter. You got parking meter money.
That's not tip money at Anderson's.
We don't do that anymore either. The parking meters. That's not a thing.
Okay,
it's all with the cards.
Maybe it's Sal's money. I'm totally keeping it if it's Sal's. I'm totally keeping the.
I'm not saying you shouldn't keep it. I'm just saying if you stood there and tried to get a big amount of money out of there, then that would be wrong.
All right, Sal at 5, Trista at 6. We'll look for your calls after this break. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Come back. Sal coming up. If you missed Dan Leberfeld or anything over the course of the day or even yesterday on WGR, check it out on the Odyssey app, AUDACY on demand. Let's go to Milton next. Hi, Milton.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, when I heard y'all talking about the tush push, I think the problem is that, don't get me wrong, Josh Allen is Superman. But when it comes to the tush push, they overthinking it. Like, them and Philly, they both just go straight ahead usually all the time. And Philly never changes up. For some reason, Josh switches up and tries to go to the left and things like that. We should just go straight up the middle because that's what's working. And one more thing.
Yep.
I just wanted to mention a thing about the 1-2 point conversion. We took the points off the board. I don't think we should have did that, even though everything came out right. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, just you and me, I would go for 2 every time with this team, unless there's some specific mathematical reason why I shouldn't. Like, I've just tied the game with a touchdown, extra point wins it, then okay. But teams like the Bills and the Ravens should never kick an extra point. It's just, I mean, what would you want Baltimore to do? This is sort of like what punting was 15 years ago, when NFL teams didn't know not to punt as often yet. Think about being the other team. What do you want? It's 4th and 1 at your 45. Don't you want them to punt? And they do, and you're happy. What do you want if you're the Bills on Sunday night and you're playing Baltimore? Wouldn't you want them to kick the extra point every time because they have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and 2 yards is worth double? The one Bills 2-pointer was from the 1. And they still threw and they missed.
Yeah, that's the one the caller's talking about, that they took the point down and then went for the 2 because they were a yard closer. I don't have it committed to memory, but I know from, again, going through, looking back at the game, at least one of their failed sneaks was not in the usual spot. I think they tried to go in the middle, if not to the right, and it didn't work. So for whatever that's worth. But you're right, they have always last year in the playoffs and all season really it was between Dawkins and Edwards is where they usually are going, or maybe between Edwards and the center, but either way it's to the left is where they're going. Go back even to the Titans slip in Tennessee. This is a few years ago now, before the tush push even was a thing. The sneak, he's going that way and he gets tripped by Dawkins, who got knocked off his feet. So they have always gone left, but on Sunday they did try at least one time, I know, not doing that, and it didn't work.
Thanks, Milton. It's funny how James Cook is not even in this conversation. What are they paying him? My number 1 running back is not even in the conversation for what to do on these 2-point conversions. 0 for 3, never touched the ball. Like, nobody's calling in to say they should have given the ball to James Cook. He's irrelevant on these plays. Should he be irrelevant? Do you want? I don't know, but it's not. He's not Derrick Henry.
Well, I'll save it because we don't have time here. But if they'd gotten that last 2, who knows? Baltimore's going then. Instead of just trying to eat time and kill the game because they've got a lead, they're going to try to get their own field goal. I mean, who knows what happens?
40-40.
It might have been
2 minutes.
It might have been really good that you missed that last 2-point conversion. You might not have gotten the ball back.
Yeah, and you're not going to press as hard when you're getting the ball back when you do there.
Right.
If it's tied. That's right. All right, back with Sal after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day alright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Five players were limited today as the Bills got back to practice. Cornerback Tre'Davious White with a groin, edge rusher Greg Rousseau a knee, Dawson Knox a hip, James Cook hamstring, and return man Brandon Codgerton also dealing with a knee injury. Cornerback Taron Johnson with a quad and linebacker Shaq Thompson with a hamstring and hand designation were the only two players who did not practice today. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll get more on today. Sal Capacio will join the show next, so do stay tuned for that. Before practice today, the team did make an addition to their practice squad. Defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis, and then quarterback Josh Allen. He was named the AFC's Offensive Player of the Week. This is Allen's 16th time winning the award, the most of any player in the NFL. Some injury notes around the NFL in practice. Chiefs wide receivers Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals both not practicing. Worthy a shoulder, Royals a knee. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy not practicing today due to a left shoulder and toe injury. Head coach Kyle Shanahan did call him a long shot to play Sunday against the Saints. And then Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen says rookie Travis Hunter is going to get more snaps on defense against Cincinnati. While in baseball, Bison's at Rochester just after 6 o'clock. That game can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. 6:45, Mets at Phillies, then just after 7. Toronto, they host Houston while the Yankees have the Tigers in town. And with 18 games to go, the Jays hold a 3-game lead in the AL East. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back. The Bills practiced today. Media got their time with the players. And I know Sal spent some time with Trey White. Let's maybe start there. Sal Capacio on the West Her hotline. Hi, Sal. What was your conversation with the Bills cornerback about? What do we know about his status here going into Sunday?
Well, as always, players aren't going to tell you if they're going to play or not. I guess that could happen, but usually they keep it close to the vest, especially when they've been injured. They've been out for a while. But he said so far so good. He felt good today. Always good to get back on the field. I did ask him a little bit about, what it was like, because obviously we know how emotional he was when everything happened originally and he was here through the injury he went to. And I said, we all saw what happened, and we all saw how the emotion in you when it went down, not knowing what was happening. And he said, yeah, he's counting his blessings. He didn't have to be carted off, and that, it turned out to be, not as serious as it could have been. So obviously he's really thankful for that. I think he's excited to get back on the field, to get back to play a game if that's the case. And I asked him what he felt about Dorian Strong's play, and he really, really praised the rookie. Said it was in tight coverage, didn't have any busted plays, really played well. Said, but that's no surprise to him. He said that's just kind of the way he's been since he got here. You could see he was really happy to see how well Dorian Strong played.
What is the injury, by the way, for fans who don't know?
Groin.
Okay. So, how did he look to you? What you got to see him do? I know you don't get to watch all of practice, but yeah. How did he look on the field when you were watching?
Pretty natural and normal to me. I actually tweeted out some video. People can go watch that, and I put it at WGR550.com. It's part of my story on today with the injury report. And I have the videos embedded there from my tweets, and I think he looked pretty normal to me. Like anything that he did looked like he was doing normal reps. Now, obviously, limited means when we're not out there, there are things that he's not doing that he normally would. But I didn't see him take any warm-up reps off, so anything like that. Didn't back off. And in fact, there's one video I tweeted, he attacked the bag. They were doing they call it a gator roll tackle, and he was attacking the bag and getting down to the ground and rolling, and that was good to see. A lot of times when guys are coming back, you might kind of lay off certain drills where it's going to require you to either hit the ground or do certain types of other movements. Wasn't the case. So, from my eyes, he would look like a normal player getting ready to play a football game, but we'll see where it goes throughout the week.
Right, he is still officially listed for today as limited, so we'll watch and see. Would you think if he can go full by maybe even as soon as tomorrow, Sal, that he would just go in the lineup ahead of Dorian Strong?
I do. I don't think I think it's way premature to discuss him not playing over Dorian Strong, right? He's the starting cornerback for this team opposite Christian Benford. And the only way that's going to change right now is because of injury, or if Tre'Davious White goes out there and seems lost, which I don't think is the case. As nice as Dorian Strong looked, it's one game, and they really didn't attack him very much. And you'd love to see that continue to happen and hey, give him credit. That's why they didn't attack him, because maybe he played so well, But I would expect that to happen. Now, if he's full participant tomorrow, then yeah, for sure. If he's not tomorrow, I still think there's a strong chance that could happen, because if he's practicing all week, that's even better than last week when he didn't practice and Sean McDermott still didn't rule him out.
Right, that's right.
So, Sal, like, what is the bottom line for you on how the Bills are without Trey White, or even with on the heels of Sunday? So Dorian Strong, Trey White, no Hairston for a while yet. The safeties. Just wonder if you think like the Jets or any other team that are preparing for the Bills would feel, okay, well, we can attack this. Is it like that? Or is it maybe not quite that? I mean, Baltimore is so good offensively in so many areas. I don't know, like what sort of is the sum total of the secondary after the game Sunday night for you?
You mean attack through the pass, with the pass, Mike?
Yeah, like does it change how you would approach? I mean, they got run on too, but does the secondary, for all the time we spend in the offseason trying to guess at what they're actually going to look like, does Sunday night change this for you at all?
No. I mean, I think all the issues for me in Sunday were against the run. I think the issues for the Bills, and they would tell you mostly were against the run. There were some open receivers, but it wasn't like Lamar Jackson, threw for 350 yards. I mean, they did their damage on the ground. If the Jets come into this game with a game plan of let's attack the Bills through the air and that's our meal ticket, I think that's pretty foolish on their part. Because you have a quarterback who isn't Lamar Jackson, and he's had some of his struggles throwing the ball, and you have a good running game as of last week, and the Bills were not good stopping the run. So I doubt the Jets are going into this game thinking our way to win is through the air and passing against the Bills, unless it's to do some things to set up the run. I would think the Jets would want to run against the Bills and say, hey, this team couldn't stop a team with a really great running back and a running quarterback. Guess what we have? A really good running back in Breece Hall, who was excellent last week, and a running quarterback, and we're going to test them on the ground.
I wonder, just to circle back to Strong and White here, if anticipating a certain kind of game plays into, obviously if White's healthy, then maybe there's less question. But, not that your corner has to matter. It certainly doesn't matter the most in run support, but setting the edge and that kind of thing and being physical up near the line might be something they feel better about a guy like Strong doing than asking Tre'Davious White to do that.
I don't doubt that, but I think the complete sum of Tre'Davious White being comfortable with him, hitting, knowing they can really trust him to know what he's supposed to do, be where he's supposed to be. And, he's not the greatest tackler. We know that. He's not going to be the most physical guy, but he's willing, and he's going to do his best at it. And I think that's going to outweigh the fact that maybe you have a better tackler on the outside. I mean, I think Dane Jackson's a good tackler. I think Dane, but Dane Jackson's even on the practice squad, right? I don't think they're going to sacrifice what they have in the overall corner and the trustworthiness of him to put him on the field. To go back to your question, Mike, too, about through the air, the other part of that would be, I don't know what the Bills' plan will be. It's actually really fun. Matt and I talked about this. We did an Always Game Day today, and we talked about, what do the Bills do? Do they have Christian Benford follow Garrett Wilson? Because look at the Jets, splits and stats at receiver last week. Garrett Wilson had 9 catches, and nobody else really caught the ball. The next guy was 2. That was it the whole day. And it's that's what they have, throwing the ball. And I know they have Mason Taylor is their tight end that's a bit banged up. He didn't practice today. So, we'll see where that goes. But I wonder, too, even if you have that thought to throw against them, I think the Bills know they got one guy here that they're really going to be counting on to carry that load.
Sal, I think maybe the most encouraging and important thing for the Jets Sunday in their loss was, is it Membo, the lineman, who just maybe shut down TJ Watt? Pittsburgh's defense has such a great reputation, and the Jets did a lot on offense. I neither think the Jets are going to want to throw on the Bills. I just wonder, sort of in a neutral sense, whether what you would take from this game. And if Trey White isn't there and he comes back, then it would change probably anyway. But I would think that would be is Justin Fields could be one of those situations where you get to the end of the season and there's some temptation to pay him, but I don't know, what's the ceiling? Like Daniel Jones was in New York with the Giants, and he got paid. You know how that went. Or Tua, maybe also. But I think, offensive line has been such a bad thing for the Jets. They've just been injuries and just they can't get off the ground with their offense some of these years, and maybe this year's different.
Yeah, these two dudes they've got to tackle seem pretty solid, Sal. Better than solid, even.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it looks like they've revamped their offensive line. They've done a nice job. I think, Aaron Glenn comes in with a pretty, physical type of mentality and culture that they want to be able to play like that, play physical. And obviously, Steelers have some really, really good dudes up front. I mean, following some Steelers people, I think that one of the takeaways from them was they did look a little older, and we said, hey, they are an older defense, right? I mean, they did trade Minka, but, Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt and some of the injuries they've dealt with and Cam's, issues this offseason with his contract, they did look a little bit older, but give the Jets credit. I agree. I think the Jets look good running the ball with those guys, and I think that, even protecting Justin Fields, part of that is his mobility. He can escape some pressure. Breece Hall looks really good. I don't think, Mike, in a general sense of the secondary of how they looked, it changes anything. I mean, I just think the Ravens are such a different animal when you play them that I don't know what I can ever take away from playing against them versus any other week, because I think teams just have to have like a different strategy, different mentality and philosophy when you play them versus a lot of other teams, and it can change every time you play them.
Sal Capacio on the Western Hotline with us as the Bills begin their preparation for this week's game on Sunday in New Jersey against the Jets. Sal, we heard Sean McDermott earlier today talking about how the preparation for this has to be tough. They've got to work hard here because there was a lot that didn't go the way they would have liked it to go on Sunday, despite getting the result that they wanted. So much so that padded practice here on a Wednesday. I know I saw Ed Oliver say, we just played 60 minutes on Sunday, and it's tough to have to put the pads on. How do you think that went over with the team?
I'm sure guys don't love it, but they understand why, I'm sure, and that they have to get everything corrected. Sean McDermott's quote was, "This week has to be hard," and I think sure enough, part of that is hard practices, right? But the other thing he said when asked, "What does that mean?" He said, "Hard conversations. Be truthful with yourself." And let's take a look at what we did and didn't do because it wasn't good enough. It wasn't up to our standard. I'm not going to say the Bills are treating this game as if they lost last week, because they didn't. They won, and they celebrate their wins, and they'll be the first to tell you this. But they're not happy. They're angry with how they played. I think they feel that the way they played defensively and what they put on film, stopping the run, was something that they're not happy about, and they want to atone for that. So, guys could be upset. That's fine. It doesn't, they got to go out and do their jobs. And it was, to me, it's kind of like near the end of camp, they did this too, near the end of camp, because the starters didn't play a ton. They had a couple more padded practices. They went a little bit more one-on-one. And if you remember, the practice that Tre'Davious White got hurt in actually at the stadium that day, I remember specifically, there was 3 skirmishes in that practice because I think guys were not happy that they had to do that, and they were edgy. And, that's not what they're used to. So I think Sean McDermott, that's part of it. Keep them on edge and don't get comfortable, because we shouldn't be comfortable after what we played, the way we played last week. And I think that's his message.
With Sal Capacio, so Sean talked about the 0 for 3 on the 2-point tries on Sunday night. One was from the pass to Coleman where he'd been out of the end zone and then came back in and was ruled ineligible. Then you've got an interception on the second one and a contested catch for Coleman on the third one that doesn't connect. Any thoughts on either those decisions? I've got no problem with if the Bills want to go for 2 on every touchdown the rest of the year, save one where they're tied at the end of the game and it's an extra point for the win. I'm fine. But just where's an Allen run? It's always easier in hindsight. What are your thoughts on how that played out?
We talked Monday, and just to reiterate for people, Sean McDermott explained the reason he went for 2 on the final 2 conversions was because he wanted to. He went for the one early on because he wanted to make sure if they didn't make it that they knew what they had to do the rest of the game, and then obviously there was a situation where they wanted to make sure that they got the 2 a little bit later. But either way, without rehashing that, the decisions itself, that's it. I didn't love the play calls. I didn't love from the 1-yard line going. I think they went empty. I don't remember they motioned it back into the backfield or not. But that's kind of tipping your hand right there. And that could be an Allen run, and that's fine, but it wasn't. And then you have the fade to Keon Coleman. I didn't love that decision. Mm-hmm. But the other part of it is, even on the runs, Mike, there were other runs where Sean was asked specifically today that even going back to the championship game against Kansas City, And then you combine that with this game and how the QB sneak didn't work a couple times, right? In that game and in this game. And Sean was very recognizable of that. And he said, yes, that's something he said. He's basically like, we're not going to get in a strategy like what they're going to do to, make sure or fix it. But he said it's definitely something that we need to look at, and we are looking at. And then he mentioned, while that answer was going on, unprompted, about the 2-point conversions, which is what you're talking about. So I thought all that was interesting that he mentioned, and he was very, agreeing. And, yes, that's something that they are looking at, the quarterback sneaks and why they have not worked as much. And then coupled with that is the 2-point conversions not working. And he mentioned short yardage as a whole.
Yeah. The one that you didn't mention, the one 2-point conversion play that you didn't describe here, was they used an orbit motion with Elijah Moore, and it was supposed to be Ty Johnson leaking out of the backfield, and Marlon Humphrey just blew it up. He just squatted on Johnson. He was supposed to get sucked into something else, and he wasn't. I don't know if he just guessed right or read it, whatever, and then Allen just started scrambling, and that was that. Do you have a guess on what's happening with the sneaks?
I think teams are becoming better equipped to stop it. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're loading up a certain way to make sure that can't happen. And so I don't think it's coming from the Bills' end of execution. I think it's coming from, hey, other teams have kind of seen what we do. And it's not just going left or over a certain guy. Literally, I think it's, okay, this is how they block it, how their legs are positioned. How can we get into position to make sure that they don't get leverage on us? I think all of those things get baked into when you look at those things.
Yeah, definitely one. Maybe, I don't know if your recollection is the same, but I'm pretty sure, almost sure, that one of the sneaks at least was not to the left like it always has been. It was more in the middle, and it didn't work either. And eventually Allen just leaped over the line to get the ball over on that last touchdown, as it turned out. So that I think really, going back to the championship game, is something to really keep an eye on, because that has been relatively automatic for them, and therefore I think McDermott's willingness to go in a lot of situations has been that automatic, and I wonder if he'll get a little scared off it.
It's a good question. Yeah, would they say, all right, well, if that's not going to be as effective, maybe we shouldn't do anything, or is it that they try something else? And I do think it's something to watch going forward here.
Sal, so it's Bills and Jets Sunday, and it's Patriots-Dolphins in Miami. The whole AFC East is, it's a intra-squad kind of day on Sunday. What are your thoughts on those two teams after Week 1? New England, so much optimism about the Patriots, but, not a great showing against the Raiders, although maybe you think the Raiders are really good, sort of, and then the Patriots were just the second-best team, but not bad. And the Dolphins, of course, a nightmare sort of opener. Everybody's ready to sort of bury them already, I think. Miami's a small favorite in the game. Before we let you go, are you sort of in tune with the takeaways on the Dolphins and Patriots after Week 1, or maybe not?
Yeah, I didn't think the Dolphins would be very good. I didn't think they would look like that. That was ridiculously bad. It was terrible how their performance. And it's Week 1. They could change it around, but, man, they did everything kind of contrary to what I think they wanted to do, and it went terribly for them. I think really my biggest takeaway on them is their coach might be in a lot of trouble, and their own fans and fan bases and media are starting to really wonder if he's the right guy for them. He's a really smart offensive guy, but I think now there's enough history here, and especially after this game, of is he really a good enough head coach? His message, his way of just running an organization and what they're about, basically the culture, whatever you want to call it. You look at Tyreek Hill and what's going on the sidelines, and this is obviously not the first time. And I have a friend that's a really big Dolphins fan, and he was really upset. And he said to me the other day, he said, "Sal, I've always stood by Mike McDaniel, but I think they have to make a change. His message just isn't getting through, and he's not the right guy for this." And I think that's interesting from that level. I don't think their secondary is bad, and I don't know what the answer is. They might have to have a really hard reset, and they haven't done that yet, and that's part of the problem. Now by the way, guys, now they're going to be without this week their right guard and their right tackle.
Right.
Apparently, they're starting brand new right guard and right tackle. So that's on them. On the Patriots, I've been saying this year, hey, I think the Patriots will be definitely better. I just don't think they'll be good enough to really challenge the Bills, and probably around maybe 500. Maybe they break 500, and that's a nice season, and maybe they'll be in the mix at the end for a wild card. After what I saw on Sunday, I'm not sure about that anymore. They have a ways to go, talent-wise especially, and I figured they were pretty devoid of some talent on the offensive end. But what I didn't take into account was Drake May just wasn't that good, to be quite honest. Now again, it's week one. It's Pete Carroll, and he probably had some nice tricks up his sleeve for Drake May. But man, Drake May did not have a really good game, and you come away from that game going, boy, he needs to play better than that to give us a chance.
Right. He got the numbers, but Kayshon Boutte, the waivers pickup this week in fantasy from the Patriots, he had a 100-yard game. He's had a pretty good run going back to last year for them. Sal, thank you. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk tomorrow.
All right, guys, you got it. Thanks.
That's our dude Sal Capacio on the Wester Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
The stats, the numbers are there, the totals are there for the Patriots. And it's not only because they were playing from behind. I mean, in the first half, May was on a 300-yard pace against a 287. Demario Douglas, Bulldog, you call him Pop.
Pop. Yeah, always Pop.
2 for -2 and a touchdown. That's a fun line.
That is hard to do. Not really.
Only Pop. Only Pop. Dig 6 for 57. Okay, back to the Bills. 803-0550 for your calls. We've been still basking in Sunday night. Yesterday we had Josh Allen calling out the fans for leaving. And today, more sort of taking stock of what Sunday's game tells us about them, if anything, different than what we thought. We'd love to hear your opinions. Lines are open. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Trista Crick at 6. This is WGR.
Back to work today for the Buffalo Bills. 5 players were limited. Cornerback Trey White with a groin, edge rusher Greg Rousseau a knee, tight end Dawson Knox hip, running back James Cook hamstring, and return man Brandon Codrington a knee injury. Cornerback Taron Johnson with a quad and linebacker Shaq Thompson with a hamstring and hand designation. Minnesota forward Kirill Kaprizov, according to a report from Frank Saravelli, turned down an 8-year, $128 million extension. If accepted, this would have made Kaprizov the highest-paid player in NHL history. And then in baseball, the Bisons at Rochester just after 6, and that game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Right now, caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR-4947 wins 2 tickets to see Adam Sandler at KeyBank Center Sunday, September 21st. So a week from Sunday, courtesy of Live Nation. There's no Buffalo football game that day, by the way. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. You know, maybe there was a thing there where I couldn't say because you wouldn't know who I'm talking about. Hopefully you do the name of the team in a promotional read for I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I didn't say Super Bowl, at least.
Okay. Good job.
So good.
What day is that show, by the way?
21st.
21st. Okay, yeah, right. They play Thursday night that week.
A week from tomorrow, Miami.
I'm going to my first game as a fan in 25
really?
years. Yeah. It's been that long.
The 02? New England?
Yeah.
That year?
Yeah, so it's not
Jets.
25. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. I forgot about all those. I for some reason, I had the Tennessee opener in 2000 as the game. But no, we talked about this the other week. Yeah, I left fourth and stupid. I left early. That's after that. So
such a fun year.
But it's been a long time. So I'm really looking forward to it. Owen and I have never been to a game together. He's been with some friends. He went when he's a really little kid with his mom on a game we would have been working at. But should be a fun time.
My son and I have been to one game together. He's been to 2 others, including the Ravens playoff game. He went to that game.
Nice.
He and I have been to one game together, a preseason game against Indianapolis.
Oh, I should take that back. Owen and I went to E.J. Manuel's preseason debut against Pittsburgh back in 13.
Yeah, you have to make a special category for the preseason.
Regular season game is what I'm talking about, yeah.
This was the game where he and I were on the field. My son and I were on the field.
Right, I remember this.
And he got a ball.
Right.
There was a punt.
Gee
Reggie,
whiz, Daddy, does this happen all the time?
I know, right? I can't believe Dan Marino hasn't been to a second Super Bowl yet. Reggie Bush was fielding punts in the warm-up, and this particular punt went out of bounds right over our heads, and the ball for like a couple of seconds sat on the ground behind us, and I was with my son, who would have been 6 or 7 years old maybe at the time, and a photographer friend, and he's like, pick it up and give it to the kid, which I had no instinct to do because it's not my ball.
Yeah.
I'll take that $2.25 out of the vending machine today for the not canceled transaction, but that's not my ball. So he's like, pick it up and give it to the kid.
And then out of nowhere, here comes Philly's Karen. She's got to get in. She's got to get in there. That was my ball.
That was incredible.
Sorry, I didn't mean to submarine.
My
your story
wife
here.
even knew about that.
Right.
Like I was thinking I could bring this up to her just to start a conversation. She even knew about the Phillies lady.
Yeah.
And the kid got like a bat, and he got to the clubhouse.
He made out great. Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a camera now, so.
Yeah.
But I picked up the ball and gave it to my son. I've got a great picture of him just like awestruck that he's got this football in his hands. And then we went up. We were there for work, and there were other people from the station who were in the suite together. And, there were 2 or 3 other kids about his age or a little older. And the whole night was keeping the ball away from them.
Right.
Like, all right. We got this thing. You're not touching it because you're running out that door. I know it.
Hang on to that ball.
You know what? I have 2. Both one is through something else like a school function where he won it, or my wife or he won it, and another one was through here at like a raffle. We've got 2 signed
NFL game type balls.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Both signed by Stephon Diggs.
Oh, wow.
What do I do with them? I'm going to call the hobby.
Hope you don't get hung up on.
That's fair. What do I do with these? I mean, you couldn't ever in a million years guess whose signature it is by looking at it. It's just,
that's tough.
Of course, right? They can't read it. But they're both signed by, there's a certificate that says so I feel like I can say it as a fact. They're both signed by Diggs. And they're not, there might be a Bills logo on them, actually. I think there is. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What do I do with these things? They're both in like that case that a football comes in, like that cardboard sort of box.
Oh, okay. Well, get a glass display case for it.
Do I want that? Do I want a glass display case for a Stephon Diggs ball? 2 even? I don't know if I do.
I'll buy one off you. I don't have any football.
Oh, here we go.
I should say I don't have that.
You want a ball?
I'll
bring you a ball.
I have a commemorative, and it's in one of those glass cases. I have a commemorative. I think. Well, I haven't looked at it in a while. It's one of those things that's. It's in an office that I don't really use anymore, on a shelf with like books I don't read anymore. It's an area of the house that I don't really frequent. But I'm pretty sure I can still see it. It's a Jim Kelly like Hall of Fame commemorative ball.
Okay. Signed?
So yeah, but it's one of those stamped. It's not. He didn't sign it. You know what I mean? I think there's a stamped like embossed signature on it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Great signature.
And one, yeah.
There's a guy who knew how to sign his name.
Signature. And like one side of half of it's white and has like his career achievements on it, and the other side is like a regular, the regular football card.
Yes. I have a Kelly ball.
I'd like to have a football. That's the only football I have in my house. I don't have any I don't have the actual football, like the game ball. I'm envious of these footballs you have.
Oh, I'll give you one.
I like the.
Next time you bring a sub in, I'll give you the ball for the sub.
I don't know if I'm gonna. Well, wait till next Tuesday.
Who wins the trade?
I don't know.
Who says no? A Stephon Diggs autographed ball for like the best sub.
I'm way beyond sitting on the floor of my living room and throwing passes to myself and stretching out to catch them like I did when I was a little kid, and that was with a little ball anyway, not a big full-size football. You could really break something with one of those.
I kind of want to see if my dog would play with the football, but the ball is bigger than she is.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
Might be tough.
Yeah. Signature. Kelly,
I'll give you the ball.
Kelly. No, don't do that.
Yes.
Kelly's signature.
I don't want this ball. What do I mean, I have no use for it. I'm not going to sell it. This is one of those dilemmas that you have if you collect or you just sort of fell into some item or collection. Like, all right, well, it has some value, but how do I accrue it? Like, what do I do to get anything from this? Your best course of action is to know somebody who wants it. Because you can't like go through the whole thing where you put it online or what do you do with it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not doing that. It's not worth it. It's just too much work for a Diggs ball. Who wants a Diggs ball with a Bills logo on it? Which it probably has on the small one that would be on the official ball. Like when they play at home, there's that usually, right? There's a small Bills logo on the one side by the laces.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I think it has. I think these balls have that. I don't want it. Diggs?
He was good.
Well, he was good. What is he interesting to think about? Maybe like he might be near the end of his career. He probably is.
Yeah.
He had an okay week 1, and I still think there's some. It's only one game. Like there's some path where the Patriots are not bad, and he matters. Maybe he catches 60, 70 passes. He has a season.
He's there on a 1-year deal, right? Was that just a 1-year thing? I'm trying to.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to think like if. I don't know how he'll be this year. We'll see. He did come back, like, not unprecedentedly fast. I mean, guys have come back quickly from knee injuries. Not everyone's timeline is the same. But if he does, regardless of how he played in week 1, if it's a slow go this year, there still will be it was the first year after the ACL, and, like, give him time. Like, in the right spot on a good team, I still – this is what I wanted for him here. Like, if it hadn't gone sideways with him here – what I would have wanted, the reason I wanted them to invest in a potential number one receiver while he was even on the team was to ease his transition into being a complementary piece. And I think he could be a perfect slot receiver. If he wants to do it and stay in shape, I think he could be a good slot receiver for another 3 or 4 years. At his age, his skill set is so good. The route running, he's going to lose some high-end speed, and he was never the fastest guy to begin with, but I think his craft could really work well in a role like that. And that's what I envisioned. Again, if he were still here and everything had gone well, I think they would have needed to bump him inside, and I think he could flourish in a role like that.
I think maybe on certain teams, maybe New England is one of them, where I think you'd be right. I don't think I'd want him over Shakir right now on this team, though.
I'm not necessarily saying that now.
A lot of teams' best receivers are in the slot these days.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah.
Smith and Jigba in Seattle, that's just kind of perfect. They don't have anybody else that has proven. I mean, Kupp might be shot. Lamb, guys, it's different now, isn't it, than 10 years ago where the slot was a stigma?
Right.
Who was it? Was it Lamb even that came out of college and he's just a slot, and look at him. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I think it's more just not a problem than it used to be.
Yeah.
I think he might be on the right team. I don't remember what his contract was, but I remember thinking he did amazingly well for where he was
at in his career. Yeah.
So
I definitely feel that.
New England at Miami on Sunday, same time as our game. So. I mean, you'll never see it. This game will not be available to you, the football fan. Trista coming up at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. All right, it's on to week 2. Tomorrow night, Washington at Green Bay. Pretty good for the Amazon Prime season opener. NBC had the Thursday night game last week. I will text Al Michaels this weekend.
All right.
And see what he's up to next week. He'll be in town for Bills-Dolphins in week 3, I would assume. It's his slot. But I'm waiting until, the week 2 game happens.
Yeah, don't
need to rush him.
Don't chase him too hard.
I don't want to chase him too hard.
Yeah.
Ken Dryden died. The other day. Oh,
over the weekend. Yeah.
The first time we talked to Al Michaels, we brought up Dryden from Miracle on Ice. I can't think of a line I've ever heard from a color man that I liked more than Dryden. And Michaels is great too, setting it up. But Dryden before that game. It's one thing to be young and promising. It's quite another to be good. It's just, imagine that sort of profundity from an analyst in sports. And he just sort of here, all right there in one sentence. Nice story. Are you good enough for this? Let's find out. And they were.
Yeah.
I have a friend, who was it that was telling me that Dryden annoys them because, who was this? They deserve to be mentioned for this. When Michaels says, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes, Dryden chimes in with "unbelievable." And who was it that said it to me? This person is annoyed by that.
Get out of the way, right?
It's too good.
Yeah.
It's not it's an iconic line, it's
right.
Fine. But he didn't like that. Who was it that I got to remember that said that it annoys them that Dryden, maybe it was Sneaky Joe. I think it was Joe.
I don't think I've ever even noticed it.
I think it was Joe.
I've never noticed it. I adored Ken Dryden. The thought that he put into trying to protect the game from the violence that is so inherent to it was just a very noble cause. He's a deep thinker, lawyer. I mean, was at his peak when he walked away. He's Barry Sanders of the NHL. I mean, all he did was win Vezinas and Stanley Cups and won the Rookie of the Year after winning the Conn Smythe, because he only played a handful of games in the regular season and then went on a cup run with them and won the MVP of the playoffs and then won Rookie of the Year the year after.
So good.
Amazing career, and walked away I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go be a lawyer now and write books. And a lot of people were referencing his book, in deference to him when he passed away, in tribute to him, and the game. It was just a fantastic. I remember reading it. I don't think I own a copy of it currently. But I remember reading it and loving it. Just a brilliant guy. I want to, before we get to the top,
I want to say one more thing about him.
Okay, go ahead.
So, president of the Leafs in '99. I went to the last game at the Gardens that year. They moved the year they play the Sabres in the conference finals is the year they move out of the Gardens, right, and play. So the playoffs are in the Air Canada Center. And I went to the last game, Maple Leaf Gardens against Chicago, and I ran into Dryden. I'm just a fan. He doesn't know me. And I bought a last game T-shirt and asked him to sign it, and he did. And I wore it a lot. So his signature is I washed it. His signature is it's still there. Yeah. Eventually, I retired it, so I still have it. And then when it came, I was in Rochester. When it came time to the conference finals, I just can't hurt to ask. I asked the Leafs. The guy's name was Pat Park, I believe, the PR guy for the Leafs. Is there any chance of getting Ken Dryden on my dinky radio show in Rochester? He's like, sure. So they had the ceremony at the Peace Bridge.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he called in. I don't know if it was from there or the same day, but I remember talking to Dryden. It was like, this is unbelievable. To use the word he used. This really was a surreal. I'm really talking to this guy. Yeah. That was great. Anyway.
That's really great. From the last segment, we were talking about Diggs and the contract, and it's a 1-year deal. It is a 3-year deal. 3-year, $63.5 million contract, but it's really a 1-year deal. They can get out. There'll be dead money of $9 million next year, but the cap hit in year 2 and year 3 is $26.5 million. I'm trying. Zach and I were talking during the break. Once I looked it up, you walked out of the room like, what kind of year would he have to have? Is there a year that he could have where they would go like, yeah, let's do $26.5 million next year on the cap? It's a one and done. I would think, unless he goes bonkers.
I think,
or even is good and they want to redo it, maybe they can do that.
I think the team has to win. If it works team-wise, then they just sort of run it back, maybe.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, then what's the point?
Right.
I feel like they have to be pretty good.
He got $12 million up front, 22.6 guaranteed. So he did do very well, but it's probably a one and done.
Next up, Trista Crick. Let's go. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Folks, Bulldog here.
Bills got back to work today as they get ready to travel to the Jets this Sunday. 5 players were limited. Cornerback Trey White, groin. Edge rusher Greg Rousseau, knee. Tight end Dawson Knox, hip. Running back James Cook, hamstring. And return man Brandon Codrington, a knee as well. Cornerback Taron Johnson with a quad and linebacker Shaq Thompson with a hand and hamstring designation were the only 2 players to not practice. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. For more on today, Sal Capacio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Some other injury notes around the NFL. Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals both not practicing today. Worthy with a shoulder, Royals a knee. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is not practicing today as well. That is due to a left shoulder and toe injuries. Head coach Kyle Shanahan also went on to say, calling him a long shot to play Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. Minnesota forward Kirill Kaprizov, according to a report from Frank Saravelli, did turn down an 8-year, $128 million extension. If accepted, that would have made Kaprizov the highest-paid player in NHL history. And then in baseball, coming up in just a few minutes, Bison's at Rochester. You can hear that game over on our sister station, The Bet 1520. 6:45, Mets at Phillies. Then just after 7, Toronto hosts Houston. And the Yankees, they have the Tigers in town. And with 18 games to go, the Jays do hold a 3-game lead in the AL East. Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone is back in the original hit series Tulsa King. This season, Dwight faces his most dangerous adversary yet, forcing him to fight for everything he's built and protect his empire. Stream the new season of Tulsa King on Sunday, September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't love Junior Mints. I just don't hate them. I don't understand why they are treated like second-class candy.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Oh,
there's a
you don't
fantasy
understand why a
team
candy that is basically toothpaste wrapped up in stale chocolate is treated like a second-class candy. All right, I get it. It's a good, valid question.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Is there a time to change? You know, the 3 teams I've drafted this year, second-class candy is pretty good.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
You know, far be it for me to walk in when someone cracks the fantasy door open, but yesterday I brought up, did anybody out there lose on the DJ Moore last play of the dreaded last play of the game, meaningless lateral fumble? And a listener reached out to me and said, yes, it was I, Mark, who had the lead before, in a selfless act, DJ Moore fumbled, just like to nobody.
Selfless.
It was just you just do this because if you don't, you're kind of like a jerk
You
not.
didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he does. He sort of just gives the ball to Minnesota, basically. -2, and there goes Mark's win. It can happen to the best of us. With us now, speaking of the best of us, on the Wester Hotline is Trista Crick. Trista, it's been too long. I can't call her up because my thing is broken. There she is. Hi, Trista.
little traffic, little back office traffic made it on the air.
Yeah. Well, we got you, and it's been a while.
Yeah, how you doing, kid?
Where are you? What's up?
I just got back from the surgeon. My mom just got her second cataract surgery done today, so she's feeling like the second eye is a little more blurry and watery. She's not happy about the outcome, but we have another appointment with the surgeon tomorrow. I'm sure all will be in order.
Are you doing okay with this? Because she's given you a hard time in the past, we know, for, little things.
Oh, she tries to get on my business meeting call. She starts to try to give her momager input while it's happening with the cyclops eye on top of her face. And I'm like, hey, Mom, I don't need you to chime in right now. I think you should just close your eyes and relax and eat the chicken strips that I bought you. You weren't able to eat for the last 10 hours, so just relax.
That was my favorite use of chicken strips in the history of chicken strips. Just eat. Mentions. I just like
simmer down and eat. I got a text from my mother today, Trista, and of course, it was a fantasy text. She wanted to know if I would in her case, pick up Harold Fannin Jr. And she went into this whole big thing about it's actually her maiden name is Fannin. That's my grandparents' name. So she wants Harold Fannin Jr. And she said this whole big long text thing about Harold Fannin Jr. And I wrote back, well, what are your options? I mean, any question like this, you got to tell me what your options are. And her response was, what do you mean? And that's kind of where it died.
That's where it died. She just wants him because of the name. She wasn't giving you usage or snap counts compared to David Njoku, I don't think.
Mom, who is your tight end? Easy. Who is your
currently have?
Who are you cutting?
Giving up.
Who are you cutting?
My fantasy team has 4 bench spots in a Superflex league.
That's not many.
The decisions you have to make when Xavier Worthy goes down in week 1 and you're holding on to like some Jaden Blue and some Chris Godwin. You're just there's no good decisions. Thankfully, I put Chris Godwin on the IR. Nobody cares, but it's just brutal already.
4 bench spots is cruel. That is super flex. I mean, how do you even manage that? That's rough.
You lose. You just lose.
Too strict.
That's what you do.
Where are you spending, like in terms of sports, most of your time and energy these days? WNBA, I see a lot from you. I love it. You know, women's, you're certainly an advocate for women's sports. You got your own site going, and I see all of that. Are you? How much time are you giving to the NFL or anything else you could be?
So much.
Really?
NBC every day.
Yes.
Every day to NBC. We are breaking down 3 games a day. So I've already dug into a little Bills Jets so far. I think that was on Monday. We did a little Browns Ravens. We've done some Rams Titans. So yeah, no, I'm watching the games. I'm in the office all day Sunday, locked in on the 4 box with the Red Zone. So I can't escape it. It's NBC's bread and butter. So we'll do that. WNBA is sort of coming to a handicap close as NFL starts to ramp up. So I would say, in the last month or so, it's become a lot more college football and NFL. But you're right. I mean, Daily W has increased the amount of women's sports that I've watched as well, which has been awesome. It's been a great summer for women's sports in general.
I know you met my guys. They're not my guys any more than they're your guys, but Pat and Denny in the NBC fantasy world. How was that?
Pat and Denny, great dude.
They're so funny.
I'm trying to get Pat and Denny to do some social media content that's like them doing something funny based around their personality. They're not there yet, but I gave a big speech on how to build a social media presence, and I used them as my example a lot. And I'm not sure if they appreciated me sort of poking fun at them, but great guys all together.
I think they're good sports. Pat Doherty and Denny Carter. Neither has been on.
Guys.
They're super sharp. Neither's been on our show. I've sort of like watched them from afar. Pat, one of Pat's many, brands is like drafting. You said Jaden Blue, right? Your Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Drafting the likes of Jaden Blue as the bank examiner pulls up into your driveway and you wave goodbye to your kids. Like, no, the process was right, and they take all your stuff. He's got the one about building the Spirit Halloween in the backyard. There's a lot of funny stuff with those guys. So good for you being a part of that.
Yeah, it was cool. We got to do a couple of shows for Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry the other day, and there'll be a couple more of those coming up that you guys can find me on Peacock and YouTube in October and November, as long as they don't find a better fill-in the next month.
Something I was eager to ask you about, if you noticed it all, we've talked about the Cowboys with you, obviously, over the years quite a bit, and I'm wondering if you noticed and have a reaction to like the sort of Jerry Jonesing of the explanation on the opener on Thursday Night Football. Nance and Romo took their turn. Oh, the Lions are more they're happy Kenny Grant's not here anymore, and all that sort of stuff. There's such it's subtle enough that if you're not really paying attention, it might just wash over you. But if you are someone like I am, who gets annoyed about every little minute thing that happens during a football broadcast, it just felt like gaslighting to me.
Oh, I mean, it absolutely is. And you can tell when there's any former Cowboys on the broadcast, there's a lot of Jerry Jonesification that goes on. Besides probably Aikman. I feel like Aikman kind of hates the Cowboys. Like, I really do. I think he's always talking smack about us. But, I think what this off season has brought is probably one of the last straws for me as a Cowboy fan, the way that they handled the Micah Parsons negotiation and trading him for, I don't know if the trade was good, if it's not good, but you can't get rid of one of your star players right before the season begins. Like, I'm at the U.S. Open, and I'm walking in Astoria with my puppy, and I see that he's been traded to the Packers, which, listen, like, the Packers have ripped our hearts out so many times. I just don't think, out of principle, they should have moved him there. But, yeah, you're right. It's frustrating to watch on the broadcast, too.
How was your Open experience?
Oh, it is the best sporting event to attend that I have ever been to, including the Masters and Wimbledon. And I don't think it's close.
How is it? In what way is it better than Wimbledon?
So it's a little more flat and expansive, and there's a lot more places to just hang out and sit down. There's a bunch of different bar areas, a bunch of different food areas. There's all these different little, I would call them maybe activations. There's like a big Lululemon store and a Nike and a Polo. So it's almost its own little city where I feel like Wimbledon is much more regal, and they're not as greedy and American as we would be in New York, where we set up just this commercialization of tennis everything. But it was kind of cool. It was almost like Disney World for tennis, where it was like you could just not see any tennis and still have a great time.
Love the outer courts.
Love the outer courts.
Jump over to court 10, sit in the front row, and watch whoever it is. It's still awesome to watch. So, with Trista Crick, wanted to get a Josh Allen checkup from you after Sunday night, going into a new season. He continues to amaze. Here are the Bills at 1-0 after that improbable win on Sunday night. Where are you at on him, the team, the season?
Ooh, okay. So you guys aren't going to like this probably because for many years I've said, just everything's good in the regular season until you see Kansas City. We've been doing this for years. And I never thought I would say it, but I've shifted and pivoted my opinion. I think this is, despite the defense looking not great, especially at stopping the run. I mean, you could say a lot of things. Derrick Henry's really freaking good, and so you can kind of chalk that up to that. But it was not so great at that last season, too, and a bunch of different nerd metrics. But outside of that, and that's a big if, I think this is a team of destiny. I think this is the year that they finally get over the hump and make it to the Super Bowl. And I don't know about winning, but I think this is a Super Bowl contending team, truly. I think Kansas City, after all the things that have happened, Xavier Worthy and his injury and Rashee Rice and his suspension and Isaiah Pacheco doesn't really look right, and are we really rolling with Kareem Hunt? And Travis Kelce kind of feels like this is his swan song. It does kind of feel like there's somebody else that's going to represent the AFC this year, and the way that the Bills sort of responded to adversity and how the Baltimore Ravens continue to melt when it's crunch time, I think I'm rolling with Buffalo, guys.
I want to know. I mean, I feel like I've been here for almost the entirety of our on-air relationship and even some off-air get-togethers. Why were we going to not like that again? Because you're a jinx or something? Like
jinx, yeah, because I'm a jinx. Yeah, exactly. Because but I mean, I've been saying that you're not going to beat the Chiefs for many years, and that has come true. It's not like I somehow jinxed you into the Super Bowl. But whenever I'm on a team heavy, just be afraid. Just be very afraid.
All right. Noted. You and I have a couple of Survivor teams. Got to figure out week 2. Like, nobody lost in week 1. 3-4% in every pool. Tough.
Have
you looked at this week? I really haven't.
I haven't yet. I will say this. If you took Cleveland last week, God, your butt must have been puckering. Sheesh.
Yeah, the Bengals to win. That's me.
Yeah, if especially considering the way that week 1 was last year with the Bengals, where they took so many teams out and how close that one was. Ooh-wee, I tell you what. No, I haven't looked at it. We'll have to talk offline. There's probably a couple of ways for us to strategize. I've been a little overwhelmed with all the things that I have to do. We just started, me and Nick Costos, friend of the show, just started a new series called Snap Judgment, sponsored by BetMGM. That's twice a week now. So I'm a little busy.
I saw you with him. I like it. That was me with the Bengals. I was pretty much in the same place as far as Cincinnati losing that game as I was with the Bills losing their game in the fourth quarter. Like, it was just, all right, they can't get a first down. Here comes Cleveland. They're on the 20 or something, down by 1. This thing's dead. And the new guy missed a short field goal, and they got away with it. The 2 interceptions, I think there were 2 Bengals interceptions in that game, and they're both like right off the hands of the Cleveland receiver who was on the ground. And he sort of like here and volleyed the ball to the Bengals guy. Like the Browns were very generous in that game. So we definitely, I mean, that wasn't you, that was me. I got lucky on that one for sure.
It's funny how Joe Burrow after the game was like, well, these are the games last year that we lost. So, you know, the things are looking up, and it's like, no, but that's not, I mean, there's not some sort of luck regression that happened. They just didn't catch those interceptions. Right. You should have lost that game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So, Trista, steak night for me. We have a steak league where every year the middle 4, everybody goes out. The middle 4 finishers pay for themselves. The bottom 4 pay for themselves and the top 4. So I have to decide like how much pressure I want to put on the guys at the bottom being on the top.
You just gave me every single quadrant pays for themselves.
The top 4 doesn't pay a dime.
Okay, top 4 does not.
Bottom 4 pays for the top 4. Middle 4 pays their own way.
Yeah, the bottom 4 basically pays double. Yeah.
I see.
So
what is the question?
If this were you, how hard would you go? Like, there's no ordering for your kids or anything. But I do want to go out like I would go out if it were on my own dime, right? Like, just sort of, that's where you splurge.
You can't be disrespectful by any means. But what I will say is, if you order a porterhouse when you're with the wife, you should order a porterhouse tonight.
I better be prepared to finish it, though, or come close. Or else.
Yeah, or take a doggy bag home. I mean, those porterhouses are massive.
Yeah, too much.
Like 34 ounces or something like that.
I don't think I need that.
Don't get the petite filet. I think petite filet is the most overrated steak on the planet.
The winner is the bone-in ribeye.
There just ain't enough of it. That's all there is to it. However delicious it is, it's just
well, Bulldog's
not enough fat and marbling. It's just literally the skinny girl steak.
Yeah.
Bulldog's a big asparagus guy.
Ribeye is the call.
Bone-in ribeye is the call. Bulldog's a big asparagus guy. He wants me to get the asparagus.
I'm going for steak. I am, whether I'm making it at home or going out, I'm getting a side of asparagus. I love asparagus.
What a mistake.
Asparagus is great. Creamed, like the whipped. What is that? Mashed potatoes. That's also great with a little truffle butter.
Truffle butter. Wish I'd named a team that.
So
I'm getting hungry now.
Thank you, Trista. All the best with all your endeavors. Yeah, we'll talk again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Great.
I was really shocked to hear you thought we fired you or something. Like you and I are not in touch off the air like you and Mike are, but I was still somewhat stunned. You're just so busy. We don't want to bother you.
It's okay.
I didn't know how much time you were spending in the so-called space anymore. So, I'm
in the space, but I am in it. They will not let me leave the space. But
you're trapped in the space.
I'm trapped. You can't get away from the NFL. It is king until further notice.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, y'all. All right, bye.
Trista Crick, right there. The U.S. Open was her favorite sporting event to go to ever by far. She said, I liked it. It was 20 years ago. I liked it.
Yeah. I wonder how much different it is now versus what it was like 20 years ago.
I don't know. Like, I just remember thinking like how high end it was. And I was a little not surprised, but kind of put off by that. The stores. She's talking about the stores. How much, you need a lot of money to buy anything in these stores at the U.S. Open. But I did love, it might be a little more tougher to just, my wife talks about going there as a teenager. she grew up downstate and was a tennis player, and just like you had access to everybody, and I'm sure it's different than that.
Yeah, right.
But even in 2005, like to be able to go, stars would play doubles matches on the outer court. There'd be 10 people there. Like you could just watch in the practice session. You could watch anybody pretty easily. At least then. I think
wonder
it's
how
still the
different
same.
it is now. Yeah.
What's the best
now
sporting event?
Now it's all just Springsteen and Sting, and what are we doing?
What's the best you've ever been to? I don't know. Like, what's the number one? I don't know what I'd pick for this. I don't think I would pick the U.S. Open. I've never been to Wimbledon.
Nothing springs to mind for me. I don't feel like I have anything that's that extraordinary that would even qualify. I mean, I guess maybe what I'm hoping is that I still haven't been to my favorite sporting event.
Okay. Probably the Grand Slam of curling, I think I would pick. But I don't know which one I would pick. Guelph, Falls, London, St. Catharines. I've been to a few of these now.
Are we almost done?
The season is coming up. They're going to Tahoe.
The season's always coming up.
That's what's so great about it. You're right. That's the best thing about it. The season, it's an Olympic year. So there'll be the trials, too.
You know what else is coming? Golf season's coming up.
Which golf season?
Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup.
They'll be playing again in like November in Hawaii, won't they?
January.
Okay. All right. A little later.
Ryder Cup is exciting.
All right. Yes.
If you went to that, you might call that the best sporting event you've ever been to.
Yeah. All right. We got to go.
Let's go. Dan Leberfeld, Jets Whispers, joined us earlier. That's next on WGR.